Hold on. I gotta put on my face.
Did you miss me?
Sherlock Holmes, is that you?
No, who's that? I'm Sherlock Holmes. None of this Sherlock business. Shh, Naruhodo, I cannot use my real name. It might get you in some legal trouble, and I know you are a lawyer, so that is something I'm very astutely aware of.
Welcome to the Great Ace Attorney 2. Resolve. It's been a long time coming, and you know, it's been a while for probably a lot of you watching this right now if you're on the YouTube channel, or even if you're on Twitch. It has been over 2 years. I checked. It was like April, May 2019 when I played the first game using the fantastic, by the way, fan translation of Great Ace Attorney 1 made by Scarlet Study. Shoutouts to them for allowing me to experience this classic. And finally, the second game is out. Not translated by them, although they did get some way into the second game, but actually officially localized by Capcom? We never thought it would be possible. We never thought it could actually happen. But here we are, the release day. This is why I'm streaming on a Tuesday, by the way. I don't usually. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to see how this localization compares. But given that, I will say this warning for anybody just hopping on in. This is the second game. There are 2 games in the Great Ace Attorney series. The Great Ace Attorney 1, Adventures, or The Adventures of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, and the Great Ace Attorney 2, Resolve, The Resolve of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. This is the sequel. So, if you don't want spoilers for the first game, I suggest you go back and watch my VODs. They're still up on YouTube of the first game. The translation will be a little bit different, but they honestly did a fantastic job making it feel like something that would have come out of Capcom Studio themselves. So like off stream, I'll probably compare the two to see those little differences. I already looked up some character localization names. Freaking Meatron Stroganoff to Beef Stroganoff. Come on, Capcom. Come on. But yeah, second game's out, and we are going to be playing it. Let me just switch on over to the game screen. And yeah, I will say, a little bit of a disclaimer here. Ooh, autosave, very nice. My stream has come a long way. Since the 2 years ago that I played this, I understand a lot more about how streaming visual novel games kinda needs to flow. So, if you're watching on the YouTube video, I may be talking to people in chat on Twitch. You can't see the chat on Twitch, you'd have to be live for that. But if I ever sound like I'm like talking to invisible people, or if I ever sound like I'm saying something that I don't personally mean, probably I'm reading and or talking to chat, so keep that in mind. Oh, this is so nostalgic. Look at it, it's in HD! Woo! Oh, this music is just giving me all the nostalgia right now. Hold on, but wait. We're not here for this game. Oh, there's also special content. Let me check that. Just look at that real quick. I'm just gonna look. I'm not gonna go into it. It's gonna take forever if I actually look at everything. They added so much stuff to this. You know what? As a bonus, I'll probably like check that out at the end of today's stream. But for now, I think we need to be starting. Ooh, listen to that. Objection! No objections here. What's up, Squidgy Bump? What's up, everybody? Welcome on in. You caught us just as we're starting. Let me just admire this music for a little bit. And it's the perfect background to have me... How's the volume, by the way? I noticed this game is a little quiet, especially compared to Twilight or Skyward Sword, because that game is actually a lot louder than other Nintendo games. Y'all don't ever have to deal with this. You just turn up your TV. I have to like balance everything every time I play a different game. 1080p Ace Attorney, you got it. Heck yeah. This is the second game in the Great Ace Attorney series, so watch out for spoilers for 1 if you don't want spoilers for them. I'll try not to say too many. Volume's good, thank you. Let me just recap the story of Ace Attorney 1 in a non-spoilery way. Let me just do that, so at least if anybody's coming on into the second game, you'll have a little bit of an introduction. The Great Ace Attorney stars Ryunosuke Naruhodo, the ancestor of Phoenix Wright, who is known as Ryo You know, I had the name in my head, then I lost it. Ryotaro? No. Ryu something Naruhodo. So you can see where the family connection lies there. An ancestor of Phoenix Wright, who studied English in Japan in the Imperial Yume University. And although he didn't initially want to become a lawyer, it's something that he decided to do in order to honor a friend's request. And his assistant is none other than Susato Mikotoba. I don't know if she has any connections to anybody in the modern Ace Attorney series, but she is amazing. She has one hell of a toss, as in like judo flips, like Susato toss! Ah! Just break your neck, just flipping you an entire like suplex. Oh yeah, she's dangerous. She functions as our legal assistant a la Maya Fey, and she's amazing. Also a student at the same academy, daughter of the professor, one of the professors who taught at the academy, by the way, actually. And they're off solving mysteries and doing trials in both Japan and England, just trying to uphold justice wherever they may be. Now, Ace Attorney, usually you're joined by some sort of detective character who helps provide you with evidence and, you know, helps guide you down the right path. Right path? Well, we got somebody. We got Herlock Sholmes himself. Don't you know the famous character? No, real person. Herlock Sholmes. You may have heard of him. And his assistant, Watson. What, you don't remember that's what Watson looks like? Iris Watson. Don't ask about John Watson. He's not here. It's fine. It's fine. And they've gone on many of adventures in the first great Ace Attorney, and unlocking hidden conspiracies that I probably should have remembered by now. I don't. So I'm sure the game will remind us. Let's get into it, shall we? Heck yeah. What did you come back to? You know, just me just doing a little explanation. Hopefully it's enough for everybody. If not, we can wing it. Oh yeah, there's anime intros. Oh, these are dubbed now, aren't they? Oh, I gotta listen. Is that Yggdrasil, the World Tree? Oh no, this is 3D.
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean. Those days in London seem like a dream.
I love the way they handle the dub.
But I do miss my time in England's vast capital. You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer.
Whose grave was that?
I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court. Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home.
That's not her father's grave, is it? I find myself faced with another crime.
Here it goes. Oh, you, Giselle Britt, I remember you.
Is that your name in this version?
So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life.
Oh?
As a lawyer.
Whoa? Excuse me? Honestly, Susato is a bit more qualified than Ryunosuke. But
So
maybe...
please.
Oh. Ow!
I ask for your guidance.
Okay.
Kazuma-sama.
Oh, it's a Yes, it's Kazuma Kiryu. It's very unfortunate. Sorry, spoilers for Yakuza. Oh, well then. I wasn't gonna say it, but yeah. That's a bit of an important character. I told you guys there'd be spoilers for the first game, but here we are. Right into it. So does that mean, oh, I guess I must be Susato right now. 13th August, 8:26 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendants Antechamber 3. So, I wanted to just say, I love how they did the dub for this game, specifically paying attention to, like, these are students who lived in Imperial Japan and learned English through the Queen's English. So, they speak with an English accent through a Japanese accent, and it sounds very authentic. They hired voice actors who are actually Japanese in origin, and it just sounds super, like, authentic to how they would have sounded in this time period. And they even go further as to, like, I've read articles about the localization, and they do stuff like, if it's implied they're speaking Japanese to each other, they'll add, like, san and other honorifics to the end of each other's names. But if they're speaking English to each other or to English people, then they'll say, like, Miss Suzato or Mr. Ryunosuke. Super fine detail that was just never in the original Japanese because everyone just spoke Japanese in that version. I'm sorry, I'm just really gushing about how they handled this game. I'm still in awe that it ever happened. Sorry, just let's get into it. Yeah. You don't know about Japan's legal system. Ghost patrons are generally not granted amicus curiae in Canada. Well, I don't think Kazuma's gonna be appearing in court. Origination, what's up? Welcome to the story. Hopefully it's not too much of a spoiler, but welcome. Here I am again, after 9 months. The Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. Should I do the accent? When I played the first game, I gave Suzato and Ryunosuke American accents because I tried to give everybody else an English accent. I'll feel it out. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. I'll put a light accent on it. Oh good, her father's still around.
Ah, good. You're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late.
Oh, yes, good morning, sir. That's how you address your own dad, huh?
I hardly recognize you. You cut a fine figure, Counsel. But you look as white as a sheet. And those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either.
Oh, dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous. I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish I'd never been born. Suzato! You've been behind the defendant's desk before? Why so nervous?
Goodness! Not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say.
Okay, I shouldn't be giving... Well, I don't know. I guess if she's talking to her father, she should be using an accent that's implied to be natural? Yujin Mikotoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. A man who, earlier in his life, traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. So humble. Who is this? Is it Ouchie? Is it Pain?
Excuse me!
Okay, that's completely the wrong voice. Who are you? You're new. You know, I think I saw you on the box art, but I thought that might have been like Maya somehow. Would I be correct in thinking that you're to be my lawyer in court today? Huh. Oh, yeah, that's right, miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. Your life probably depends on this case, so yes. It's a complete fabrication! The whole thing! We're a far cry from Larry Butts going like, I'm a dead man walking, dude! It's alright, lock me up, I'm guilty! Ray Membami. Membami? Ray... Remember me, though I must travel far, remember me. Born in the same year as I, and my greatest friend. And, you know, we're just figuring out who she is right now. He just never came up. Of course. Just like Apollo's best friend in Ace Attorney 6, that he always had. I mean, 5, that he always had. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the University Research Laboratory helping my father. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial. Accused of committing a truly awful murder. I don't remember. It's been 2 seconds, man. Are you feeling alright? Actually, that is an amazing pun. It's that trope where it's like, remember the new guy? You always knew them. Her name is Remember. Capcom still has it, of course. Since we started talking, you seem, well, to have become a little flushed. Oh my, it's just that you look so gallant and dashing. So, okay, I know why she's saying that. It's something that's really, really hard to not get spoiled on, but I did get spoiled on it looking up screenshots for thumbnails for the first game. That's how it is, but hey, now I know I'm playing as Susato. Sorry? And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. It's okay, Ray, you know it's... Oh, jeez. Goodness, I don't think she knows. Wait, does she know who I am? She hasn't realized who I am. Ray? Wait, dodge! We're gonna dodge a bullet here. And let's just say, okay, don't fall in love with Susato now. That's a little awkward. Dylan, what's up? Welcome to the story. We're defending our best friend, apparently, and we're playing as the legal assistant from the first game. We're playing Great Ace Attorney 2 right now. It's the second game, so if you mind spoilers for the first game, they're going to happen, unfortunately. Welcome on in, get comfy.
It would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work.
Oh, what do you mean, Professor Mikotoba?
If even your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax.
Disguise? Yes. I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Father? Now she knows.
You're telling me Professor Mikoto had a son?
No. Is that you, Susato? I'm so sorry I didn't say. No, what are you doing? What's going on? What? Nani-sane! That varsity uniform, that varsity cap, that varsity cape, that varsity badge, that varsity tennis racket. What you play Mario Tennis? Look at you. She's also got a fighting stance. Of course, they probably practice judo together. That's why Susato knows the toss. You look for all the world just like a student of the Imperial Yume University. A male student. That's the plan, apparently. I'm so glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke at 4 this morning to make a start. Oh, you wake up at 4 this morning. Not me sleeping at 4 in the morning, no. Look, Dragon Quest IV is very addicting. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Well, you see...
It was the only way. The only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial.
Notice how they use... I am playing the Switch version, by the way. The British spelling of everything. I feel like they probably did that not to be more accurate to like Queen's English, but to save a little bit of money on the actual English translation. Maybe? I don't know. I'm not Capcom, I didn't decide these things. My defense! With a C. Oh man, I hope this lasts for more than the tutorial trial. Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated at having been born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. That definitely changes by the time of Mia Fey, at least, of course. Despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike. But women are forbidden. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door. That's right, don't call me Susato, call me Suzosuke. Call me Jesus, why not? So that I can act as your lawyer. Jesus, okay. Oh, Susato, you go to such lengths for me. Of course, you're my greatest friend. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve.
Oh no, I have complete faith in you.
Ray. Oh, I'm looking kind of sus. Maybe that's what Susato stands for.
It's so strange though.
Sasuke. Sasuke Surameshi.
Surameshi?
That's me. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet, just because you're a woman. What a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing.
Okay. You're gonna make me blush, Ray. Ray. I can't. I'm not using the VTuber today. I switched over to the little ping tuber because I didn't want to be as distracting, but I'm distracting myself right now because I look so sus. That's a channel point redemption for anybody wondering. It makes my eyes a little shifty, shall we say, for 1 minute. There you go. Ray? Please don't look at me like that with those flushed cheeks and doting eyes.
Stop looking at me with those big old eyes. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, you really look so dashing.
Yes, you mentioned that once or twice.
You should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man.
I am pleased, I think. It certainly helped to bolster my confidence today. Ray, you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I've noticed how your shoulders are slumped and how you're trembling ever so slightly. Susato.
You believe me, don't you?
I believe you more than I believe Larry, at least. I was talking about this last time yesterday on stream on Skyward Sword, about how I didn't mind Larry in the first game, but then people reminded me how he is in some of the later ones, and I'm like, okay, yeah, he's a little, Worst Company says, you don't have context of the first game. You said best friend, you thought about Larry. No. I probably think she's a lot more, socially, aware, let's say.
I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder.
Murder? Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right?
Yes, it is. Perfectly clean.
Simple and clean. It's the way that I'm apparently making her feel tonight. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence, which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer.
That means so much to me, Susato.
It's how you do. Bailiff says,
Defendant! Counsel! Court is about to begin! Proceed to the courtroom at once!
Is that the bailiff? He talked. His mouth actually moved.
You should go in at once, Ray.
I don't remember the voice I gave for Mikotoba last time.
If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty.
That doesn't seem fair.
Oh! Stand aside!
I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast.
Well, Susato, you certainly surprised your father. Going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom, and with no prior experience of being a lawyer.
I mean, debatable. She was there for like the entirety of the first game. There was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. I wonder if I'm gonna use a fake name. But, Father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this. I don't either, so just give me a recap, Mr. Mikotoba.
Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case.
Oh, that's how it is in Ace Attorney, isn't it? That's how you know she's actually innocent. Because nobody else can see the truth. We don't even need no Magatama. Squeegee Bump saying about a case in the Manitoba Free Press versus Nagy, whoever that is. They ruled the non-existence of ghosts. What? Excuse me? Did they even try to call in a spirit medium? Jeez, I call a mistrial. They ruled a newspaper article to be false because they claimed that the house was haunted. That's awesome. The U.S. Supreme Court chooses the opposite approach, refusing to rule on the existence of ghosts, leaving the issue open in U.S. law. Good thing Ace Attorney takes place in Los Angeles, right? Right? Eat your hamburgers, Apollo.
I didn't want to burden her with that.
And is it true? The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case? Dylan says, Phoenix after the first game would rather not associate with Larry, but you love the very point that makes it start is, oh, I like to think of it that way. That whole distrust starts when Larry comes clean about taking Phoenix's money as a kid. Oh, that's silly. You think of it as sort of like the start of a downward spiral in their relationship. That is, actually, you know, I bet there's a bunch of like fan fictions that bridge the gap, and like somewhere between Ace Attorney 1 and then 2 and 3, just Larry keeps like revealing that he's been lying to Phoenix his whole life about this and that. It's like, man, why am I friends with this guy? I hope we get relationships like that in this game. Maybe callbacks to the first game. That's what I'm excited about. There will be characters from the first game. I already know there are characters from the first game returning. And, you know, maybe they'll have the same personality. Maybe they'll have different personalities. Maybe, who knows? Let's see. Is it really because of who the victim was? Giselle Brett? They were really careful. Giselle Brett was a witness in the first trial of the first game, and apparently she's died. But the whole thing about the first trial of the first game was they were tiptoeing around even thinking of calling her to the stand, even thinking of acknowledging her existence, because they were very, very, very careful about the relationships between Japan and England at the time. And, yeah, play the first game to find out what happened there.
We should be making a move now, too. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student.
Thank you, Father. Because she was foreign, because she was from England, yeah. I'm Susato Mikotoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. Right, that did happen at the end of the first game, huh? Susato had to leave. Back on the boat to Japan. So I guess we're seeing what's happening there, like right after. How many times have I wished that he were here, I wonder? Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Steel yourself. Larry Kuhn, welcome in. Another Larry that is not the Larry from Ace Attorney. Good Larry, a very good Larry. Welcome, we're at the beginning of Great Ace Attorney 2. If you don't mind spoilers, watch out. I'll try not to talk about spoilers for 1, but you know. We're playing 2, so spoilers for this game are gonna happen. Just welcome on and get comfy, and I hope you're doing well. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san. Just started? Heck yeah. Better Larry. Can we call you Better Larry? I think you'd like that, right? 13th of August, 9 a.m. Supreme Taco Bell Gordita with cheese. Court of Judicature. Judicature? Curare? Courtroom 1. You played the Scarlet Study translation? Ah, yeah, me too. It's probably why we're playing this game. We're starting with this one. Again, if you haven't realized by now, if you're watching this on YouTube, this is the second game, so if you want to watch the first one, that's on my YouTube. This guy, this judge, let me just explain something that was a little awkward the first time I played. This is the judge from the Japanese court, and I tried really hard not to accidentally give him a British accent when I played the first game, but I kept going back to,
"This court is now in session to hear the trial of Ray Mimbali."
I'm just gonna play it by ear. You'll probably be able to tell when I'm really trying to do British, or if it's just like a transatlantic accent. You know, like Miles Edgeworth.
Wait, this is the second game?
Yeah, it is. So, heck yeah, let's go. You got a little preview.
This court is now in session to hear the trial of Ray Bembami.
Ouchie, I see you've grown out your hair just like Winston Payne in Apollo Justice. Look at him! Oh, geez, just like his great-great-great-grandson.
The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency.
He's just gone full toe. Look at her! So dashing, so gallant. It looks so HD. Go for Cranky Kong? Cranky Kong, he's not that old. Maybe for the English judge.
Defense counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency. We are ready.
Ready? Ready?
Ah, yes. Counsel, according to your registration details, your name is, Ryutaro Naruhodo. Is that correct?
Ah, yes, Ryunosuke's brother. Clearly. Oh, look at that. She's even got the shifty eyes.
So sorry?
How do I, as a man, do a girl voice trying to pretend to be a man? Oh, my eyes. Her eyes.
Oh, yes. I had come up with a suitable male name for you for this little venture. I had come up with a suitable male name for you for this little venture. So I'm afraid to say I simply put down the first name that's sprung to mind.
Well, counsel,
Yes, that's right. That's me. Yes, I am Ryutaro. He was vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan. What? These animations.
It seems Ryutaro may need to consider how better to uphold his manly act first and not overdo it.
That's probably a speech pattern thing. That's a common trope in anime, how like anytime a woman is trying to be a man or a man is trying to be a woman, because Japan has different speech patterns for male and female speech, it's sort of like a trope where like, oh man, should I say ore? Should I say watashi? I don't know. See reference the movie Your Name.
And those wild, wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Just relax and listen.
Naruhodo?
Ah, Naruhodo.
So to clarify, yes, she is actual Naruhodo's assistant, Shizato Mikotoba, trying to pass off as a lawyer because women are barred from the courtroom in this age of Japan. And that's the story we know so far. This game looks so good. It does. One thing that the Great Ace Attorney series does that's different from Ace Attorney 5 and 6, which are also in 3D, they make the animations like fully fledged motion capture, high quality. One, it gives a more sense of like, I guess, slower moving, more gallant, more like well-to-do, old-timey people. And it probably saves budget on having to actually handcraft animations. Because in 5 and 6, they try to make animations that act like 2D animations to make it more like the old Ace Attorney games. But you know, this one, even though they don't feel like 2D games, they have their own style, which is actually still amazing. Yeah.
A fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. But the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be?
No relation.
You may be thinking of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of a study program. This is, his cousin! That's right. Ryutaro here has been studying in the provinces, but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any of Tokyo's preeminent lawyers. Any of them?
It's okay, Susato. You got this. I'm behind the controller.
Tut, tut, tut. What a pitiful situation.
This is ouchie. This is a ancestor of Winston Payne from the Ace Attorney trilogy, who was named Ouchie. As you can see, the pun makes sense still. Who was named Ouchie in the original Japanese.
Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has had to call in a country boy.
How dare you! Susato is every bit as gallant and dashing as any of you Tokyo attorneys. Who's Susato? Not me.
Ray, stop!
I won't have you making fun of her.
Huh?
Ouchie, where have I seen him before?
Please be careful, Ray. What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest that he's not.
I'm so nervous. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, eyes are want to flit. Oh, so cold.
The case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interests.
I changed his voice. It was too similar to, Daddy Mikotoba.
In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire. Again.
Just like the trial 9 months ago.
Wow, that's an entire baby ago.
And yet, for the proceedings of such importance, we have this unknown yokel by the dock? Dear me.
Pain, ouchie. I'm sus again. It didn't even need to be localized, it just worked.
Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense. To determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom.
9 months ago, when a certain other Naruhodo stood where you're standing now. This same judge tested him as well. We couldn't model another one. I'm sorry. Capcom only has so much budget for this series. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even of law, he passed the test with flying colors.
Oh, my favorite part of that sequence, I remember it so vividly, was how whenever he did the traditional attorney desk slam, instead of sounding like, it just sounded like,
for a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy.
Now that you ask about assistants, have we had male assistants before? We had Marvin Grossberg. And in one of the trials in, I believe, 6, you actually get Simon Blackwell, the prosecutor from 5, as your assistant as well. That's a fun time. I think Athena and Blackwell have a lot of chemistry, honestly. It's kind of funny. Do I ship them? I never said that. And nobody asked, but
So, Counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions?
Easy peasy. All right, it's time to prove myself. Yes, Your Excellency. But please do make them simple.
Very well. To start with, you will state the name of the victim.
I need the court record. Where's the court record button? Phew, that is simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried. Let me guess, you forgot.
What's the matter?
Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, minds are wont to blank. Poor thing.
What is my grandson's name? What is your favorite color?
Apparently a Ryutaru Naruhodo. What's up, Viv? Welcome on in. Oh yeah, Rintezuka, that's also true about Ace Attorney 3.
It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position and in that guise of a guy. Even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under the circumstances. Wonderful.
Oh dear. I just noticed the text box says Ryutaro. Welcome, Viv. You haven't missed much. We're just starting. Apparently, Suzato's best friend is on trial for the murder of Giselle Brett. You remember her? And, because women aren't allowed to be lawyers in this age of Japan, I am now Ryutaru Naruhodo. Don't ask. Oh, dear. This is a dismal failure.
Don't fret. You need only to use the knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem.
Of course. The court record. Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key information about the case in the court record.
That's right. Just use R to open the court record. Then you need to accept this raid from Common Writer OT.
Wait a minute.
Then you need to flip to the people section.
This is tutorial. I'll just welcome on in. Thanks for the raid, Common Writer. How are you doing? How was Golden Sun 2? I happen to know you were playing that. We're checking the court record for the first time. Exciting! And we're playing the Great Ace Attorney 2. The judge is waiting. We're right at the beginning, so don't worry too much about spoilers. Oh, look at this. It's the post-mortem report. Right, they're different from the autopsy reports in the US, because instead of like, I don't know how exactly they differ. I forget, there was an actual explanation, but like, rather than actually like dissecting the body and whatnot, they kind of just like compile all the information they know. Time of death, after 2 p.m. Death is believed to be trauma to the victim's lung from a knife blade. Only a single wound was identified. But what if it was not a wound? What if it was...
Curare.
Haha! Let's check it out. Female British, yes, of course. Yeah, welcome on in, everybody. If you're coming in on the raid, I will give this warning to all raiders. We're playing the second game in the Great Ace Attorney duology, because I played the first one on the fan translation not even 9 months ago. I'd say 9 months ago, because that's how long it was in game. Over 2 years ago now. So if you don't want spoilers, feel free to hop on off. I totally understand. Welcome on in, Common. Welcome on in, Sleepy Memories. How you doing? Welcome on in. And hope you're doing well. Get comfy, because I'm playing a visual novel, so I will be reading chat silently while I read the game out loud. So feel free to, keep chat going. Time of death, 11th August around 2 p.m. Ascertained by examination of witness statements. I wonder who the witness is. I bet they'll come to the stand. Cause of death, single deep stab wound, piercing a lung, fatal hemorrhage. Death within minutes. No, it's extreme meiosis, pupil construction was observed in the victim both eyes. I bet that's important. Meiosis, huh? Common needs to buy it. You gotta comment. We gotta make sure Capcom knows. We've got one monkey's paw wish granted. We gotta make sure the series keeps coming to the US, and physically too. That's what surprises me the most. 5 and 6 never got a physical release in America. But all of a sudden you got the 1, 2, 3 collection and the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles collection coming to America physically. We have to show Capcom we will pay money, which is, kind of sad if you that like we have to vote with our wallets, but that's how we vote in America apparently. Anyway,
Wonderful.
I'm glad that name is the same. Yes. Sleepy, yeah, okay, for sure. Bye, Sleepy. Have a good night. The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett. That's a bit of a spoiler. Giselle Brett.
A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Correct. And being a member of our empire's judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name.
The name was this.
What? So let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why then is her name indelibly associated with her own empire's judicial history? Obviously, you won't have forgotten that case from 9 months ago.
Yeah, Suzato saved Ryunosuke's bacon in that case.
But if it's proving hard to recall the finer points, everything you need is included in the court record.
Obviously, I still remember. Of course, yes. That was the start of everything. Giselle Brett! Behind the woman student persona was the face of...
Queen Victoria. The queen herself? A killer.
Yes! 9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed. And the culprit was... Giselle Brett. Shut up! Sorry, Giselle, you're not around to say that anymore.
Yes, she was a killer.
It is the killer. Do not die. Oh, wow. They still got this picture floating around. At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain. A killer and a queen. A killer queen! It was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Watson, was shot dead. Well, spoilers to what happened to him. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikotoba.
Yes, I was indebted to the man. He'd been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university.
Hoi hoi, also, thank you for the raid, World's Cutest Gamer. Warning for anybody coming on in, this is the second game in the Great Ace Attorney series. If you don't want spoilers for the first one, they are happening a lot right now, so I do not blame you if you need to jump off, but thank you for coming in on the raid. Also, still soft-spoken, what's up Celeste, how you doing? Welcome on into the show. Grab a nest, get comfy, and enjoy the dulcet tones of my voice. Yeah! Thanks for the raid, World's Cutest Gamer. Saw you were playing Samurai Warriors 5. Just came out today as well. I hope you had a great time. I hope you did all the warriors. I hope you killed all the samurais. And that they are no more.
What? Foolish samurai.
I gotta check it out myself, but welcome on in. Yeah. If you don't mind spoilers, welcome to totally Ryotaro Naruhodo being the defense attorney in this case. Yes. Yes. Not a single samurai standing, only Lubu. Why is Lubu in Samurai Warriors? Shouldn't he be in Dynasty Warriors? That's probably an Easter egg. Well, okay. Welcome on in, everybody. Disclaimer, I try to keep the plot flowing on visual novel streams, so thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. But get comfy, because I am going to be absorbed in this game's story. He's not in the game, but you can dream. You had me fooled for a second.
Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly.
Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court.
Oh, Naruhodo.
A student of the Imperial Yume University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
So...
With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense and exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett.
We need Lubu in every Warriors game. Put him in Hyrule Warriors. He'd fit perfectly.
Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime.
Yo, I just noticed he's got like a bottle of water next to him. Don't drink that. There may be curare in that too.
However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's...
Wilson! Ah, I forgot about... Can I still say Watson? I want to just say Watson. You know, I even said Watson when Wilson was on the screen earlier. I just realized.
Wilson!
She gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion.
Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play.
John H. Wilson. Ah, I hate it so much. Herlock Sholmes I love, but Wilson? Ugh.
We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead.
China? China? Why? Why Shanghai?
There's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of a transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. All that remained of our empire's obligations was to see the woman safely on board a steamship.
And yet, the very day before her departure, the Englishwoman was killed.
How what of a coincidence? Only the day before?
That will do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant.
Oh! Thank you, Your Excellency! Over the first hurdle! Arigato!
Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Ouchie.
Ouchie. As is your wish, Your Excellency.
I gotta do the explanation in Ouchie's voice, oh no. That is the same voice that I based it off of the very first voice line you hear in Ace Attorney 1, Winston Payne's
Objection!
It is burned into my memory.
The repugnant crime took place on the 11th August in broad daylight.
You'd rather them be called Watsune? Watsune Miku!
On the outskirts of the imperial capital, under a bright blue sky, at a secluded bathing spot by the sea.
Look at these burbs. Look at these burbs. They got sticks for legs.
The incident occurred in a small beach hut, erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes.
Oh.
The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung.
Ooh. Hate it when I get stabbed in the boob.
An injury that proved fatal.
You can't play Samurai Warriors 5, your PS4 controller's dead. It should be able to charge if you plug it into the PS4. I mean, it beats not playing.
There were two persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett, in her bathing attire, and the accused, Remember Me.
I'm sorry, I just don't remember you, Ouchie. Remember me. Thank you for the sub, Yellow Pikachu. Welcome back to the chicken coop. Grab a nest and get comfy. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're enjoying the show. Even the swan died. Oh no, did we get a picture of that? Also, I already noticed a contradiction. He said in her bathing attire, but she was very clearly wearing her, like, whole dress and buttress and everything. Buttress.
Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive.
I'm not sure you know what that word means, Ouchie.
The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady.
Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say.
That's certainly true. The prosecution summary was full of words. Oh, words! Ew, gross. That raised an awful lot of questions. Hungry for worms. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about... Well, you know, probably the most important one is the motive.
Words?
You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motive is a blatant understatement. You didn't even say what it was.
Tut, tut, tut! Is the yokel boy using long words that he doesn't fully understand?
I think you're projecting, Ouchie. I beg your pardon.
No matter. Let us put this to the accused, shall we? Remember me-san. You are a research assistant at the Imperial Yume University, I believe.
I think they said they used academy in the fan translation. Because my mouth wants to say Imperial Yume Academy.
No.
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
I'm working with Professor Mikotoba in his laboratory at the moment.
No, you're on trial at the moment.
I can confirm that. The defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility.
If a PS4 controller dies, it has to charge to full before it turns on. I think if you plug it into a PS4 directly by USB cable, it overwrites that? Because I've had weird situations before where, like, yeah, my PS4 controller is dead, it won't sync, but connect it by a cable and it just syncs up immediately. That might be it.
Fascinating to hear. Now, another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then?
Does that help, Rod?
Oh, I was studying under John H. Wilson.
Oh. Because I think Giselle was too.
Dr. Watson?
Wilson!
Watson.
Watson!
Yes, Watson. That's what I said. The visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago?
Oh no, you don't get to do that. You don't have the hammer, you have a fan.
The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Will Watson. Is that not true?
What, do you think it's revenge?
Yes, Dr. Watson was a wonderful man.
Interesting. Then tell the court what deep-seating feelings of anger and resentment you had towards the English women who killed him and how much you wanted revenge.
I feel like you're putting words in my mouth.
Correct words. It's called the truth. Now just admit to your lies.
Well, obviously I was filled with hatred for what she'd done. A powerful hatred. That doesn't help your case, Ray. Oh no, Ray! Be careful of what you're saying! Isn't this leading the witness? It's very leading the witness! I don't know what, like, the official laws in Japan's courts were at the time, and or now, but this can't be legal.
The motive was revenge. Plain and simple and clean, Your Excellency. Well, it was clearly a trap all along.
How wicked of him to use Ray's undying respect for her former mentor against her like that. I must find out more details, and something we can use to bolster our defense. I would at least like a second piece of evidence. As a lawyer, I really have to pick up with the prosecution about being alone. Memba-mi-san.
Yes, what is it? I mean, Naruhodo-san.
I want to know what her name is in Japanese, like the original. Also, I love this pose. I was watching some people stream the original game, the first Great Ace Attorney. I know that the dude who, like, loses the coin in the first trial, the collector dude, they changed his name to Korekuta in this game, in this collection. Korekuta! Of course, why not?
I'm really starting to wish we'd made my alias Ryotaro Suzato.
Too late now.
Please tell the court why exactly you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place.
They were bathing, of course.
And why you were alone with her.
Well, you know.
Oh, well, no, that's not true. It wasn't like that at all.
I'm not implying what?
There were other people present. A detective who was guarding Miss Brett for starters.
Where is he?
I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion, that's all.
But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there's only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett in her bathing sojourn. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life.
No!
Last chance because he was gonna go to Shanghai.
Because as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again. Tap, 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 slap.
Look, this may be her first time, actually as a lawyer in court, but she's already got the desk slammed down. You got this, Ryutaro. Ryutaro. Kindly refrain from conjecture, counsel.
The prosecution counsel seems to enjoy using provocative tricks like that. But for now, at least, we need to assemble more facts. Where's that manual? It's just like Lego, right? You just snap the pieces together. This fact here, fact B there. Oh, is that 5 studs or 4 studs? I don't know. And also, is this a dark gray piece or a black piece? I can't tell.
I need to close my notifications because I forgot.
But for now, at least, assemble facts. Try not to let him goad you.
Her name in Japanese is Haori Murasame. Huh. Well, I don't know the puns, so I guess that wasn't too useful for me, huh? In judgment, at one point in the Japanese court, they overruled one line of questioning for leading the witness and required the attorney to rephrase the question. Well, at the very least, judgment tries to model a modern court system, so I can only imagine that it's not as rigged as the courts in Ace Attorney by any means. I guess, but could you imagine if they were? They probably are, just they try to be a little bit more serious. Oh dear, this is really terrifying. But Father's right, we need more information. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel over the debating spot. Well, had I known, I just need everything.
Hey!
If I may, Prosecutor Ouchie.
What do you want, you fresh-faced young yokel student?
You know, I miss in the first trial where he's just like doing whatever he can to just like badmouth Japan, even though he himself is Japanese, just to try to suck up to Giselle. That was fun. I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot.
You get it.
Not quite yet.
Ha! My apologies. Clearly my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind.
Tell him about the game on both Switch and PS4. Heck yeah. Physically, right? I did get this game on Steam, and I was gonna use Steam to stream it. But then I realized, well, first of all, I actually got the game on time today. This time. Thank goodness. And I also realized if I played this on Steam, I'd be missing out on this wonderful zoom feature. Look, you ain't gonna notice Winston Payne's ancestors' remaining hair without zooming in like that. Look at that. It looks like it's like made of rubber or something. He's just wearing like a dead bird. Oof.
Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West.
He's got a Gunbai fan. I used to get fans like those all the time as a kid. My mom would like collect them. They're very nice. They work very well.
We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skins.
No, that's not what I meant. Also, you should rinse yourself after bathing in the ocean, because, like, there's animals and fish pee in there. You don't want to mess with fish pee. And her English name is Upon Remember Me. That one I caught on. I caught on to. Murasame is from the Japanese term for passing shower. Haori refers to the clothing. Okay. Shower clothing? Bathing suit? Is her name Upon bathing suit? Huh, maybe. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea? Ouchie, you pulled some strings, didn't you?
For old time's sake, I believe.
Sorry?
Miss Brett was to depart for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at our country's wonderful coast. Wonderful.
Salt, sand. And you know where that salt came from. You know what, the ocean. Last time I, like, was knee-deep in the ocean, I was doing, like, there's a type of fish that comes
Wonderful.
to the beach to spawn, and they actually mate in the sand. They, like, dig little holes. And that's the perfect time for you to just like grab a bucket and just scoop them up. So, you know, if you get like an actual license to fish and everything, you can just walk down to the beach and just like, sometimes you can just pick them up, sometimes you just like, just with a bucket. It's very neat because they're very edible fish. And you know, you just caught them in the act.
Haha, when they're the most vulnerable.
That's kind of sad if you think about it. They're out there trying to increase their lineage and you're just like, nope, it ends here.
The British Embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply with mating fish.
But on what grounds would we agree to such a request?
Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal.
Wow. Sounds like the Japanese government in this game is a bunch of babies.
Don't look at me, Professor! It was the government who granted permission, not I!
Sounds like you may have pushed for it, though.
In any case, it was decided that with a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong.
Yeah, let's see how that turned out.
Don't tell me it was Hosonaga. Don't tell me it was Inspector Hosonaga.
But in fact, a murder took place.
I said don't look at me! It was the young student girl who did it, not I!
You're the murderer.
No one has proved that yet.
I wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to.
Who knows what he'll do? He does sound like Ouchie's the one who did it. Who complied to it.
Maybe he's the murderer.
You know, we haven't really had that yet. Winston Payne and or Analog being the murderer.
Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration, instead continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other on a number of occasions.
Seeing the murderer of the mentor for whom she had such great respect, enjoying such undeserved liberty.
Honestly, that's kind of messed up.
Yes, even if it was only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai. You can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment.
Poor Ray.
So, Your Excellency, if you'd be so kind as to peruse this exhibit.
What we got?
A photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident.
Ooh.
Yes, thank you, Counsel. A tragic image.
I guess that is her bathing suit attire. At the very least, it looks like a bathrobe of some sort. All right, let me just see what we got here. We got slippers. We got like fancy ballet shoes in the trunk. Her various masks that she wears to summon her persona. And just goes persona. A hairbrush, undies maybe. Oh my! Don't look at those. There's that freaking bag, the one that you can quote unquote see inside. Don't think I forgot about that one. Ice water. Oh, look at this. Durare. And a stab in the back. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Thank you, Counsel. A tragic image.
Look at this photography. Whoa, there's footprints at the front too, and even the bird is dead. Can we get an F in the chat for the swan? It didn't deserve this. Also, she's holding a pen.
As you can clearly see, there is nowhere within the hut that anyone else could have hidden.
I don't know, that dress looks kind of roomy.
Dylan's remembering the Ace Attorney anime. There's an anime-only prosecutor. Oh, really? Who in the dub and subs had their career in the US, condescending toward Japanese lawyers. Then Phoenix goes, dude, you grew up in Japan yourself. Nice. I seem to remember that. I think they do this weird half localization for the anime where they use the game names for like Phoenix Wright and Lotta Hart, but they still say it takes place in Japan. I never actually watched the whole thing of the anime because I already played the games, but it's interesting. It's fascinating.
This court will accept this photographic print as evidence.
Able to do. Stop looking through a woman's stuff. It's rude. I'm sorry. It's for the investigation. And plus, Susato is also a woman, so, you know, it actually works out.
As I understand it then, the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant.
No, it doesn't. Retract that finger. Curl it up.
Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case. We intend to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence. Damn.
Witnesses? But who?
One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective.
The one who was supposed to be with her?
I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt.
Very well then, counsel. Bring forth your witnesses.
I, Takatsukuchi, Uchi Kuchi Ouchi, have been waiting for this moment.
Uchi Coochie Ouchie. Sorry?
Oh, yes. I haven't forgotten. The trial 9 months ago, here in this very courthouse. When that irreverent little student boy utterly humiliated me.
Who are you? Wait, this is a flashback.
Nosuke Naruhodo!
Yes?
This insult to the Ouchi family name will never be forgotten.
You become conceited with age, counsel. The old have to stand aside and make way for the new.
Who lets him have a sword in court?
It's the way of the world. May you never forget that.
Wow, didn't think I'd actually have to pull out my snake voice.
Cut, cut, cut!
And he's worn his hair that way ever since. How about that?
Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut, and the bell of cultural enlightenment tolls.
Thank you, Snake. Da-da-da-da-da.
Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died.
The start of your own mini-Meiji revolution. Are you modernizing as well, Council? Nice one.
Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there's been a minor miracle atop my head.
Wow, you grew a new hair? Got him.
Observe the ouchie growth.
I don't want to observe the ouchie growth. Excuse me. Cover your eyes, children. Ew. You really are talking about growing a new hair. Oh my god.
You see? You see the seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown?
I think that tiny growth is trying to tell me something. Only Ace Attorney, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm afraid I can't really see. Where's the hope exactly? I said silence! Ah! It's right here! Look at my forehead! Look at my forehead! You'll see my growth! Look at it! Today I face another Yoko student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you! And my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned.
You're gonna put fertilizer on your head? I think your metaphor broke down, dude.
With that, the prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand.
I mean, you definitely have it on your face, that's for sure.
It looks like the stakes are high on both sides of this trial. The prosecution and defense each has much to lose. A haircut.
A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life. In the anime, they actually show Cindy Stone in front of the Statue of Liberty. Oh, okay. Well, I guess you could. Is that Sasaki Natsume? Why is he here? Welcome back, So Sexy Natsume. Good to see you again. I need to remember how Brad did that voice last time. Of course. I love it already. Heck yeah. I'm so happy. Yeah.
Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court.
What are you wearing, Hosonaga? Why do you have like a turtle on your head? Oops. Looking respectfully. What's up, Lilu Pagan? Hope you've been well. It's been a little bit. Welcome to the beginning of Ace Attorney, Great Ace Attorney 2. You haven't missed much. There was a murder at the beach. Oh my god. And we have some familiar faces out here. Let's go. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected.
And I am, well, the next big thing in books. An author renowned throughout the capital, in fact. Yes. Soon to be sold out, the satirical Wagahai wa Neko Dearu. A sensational success by Soseki Natsume.
A much better author than Ango Natsume, to be sure. Oh my goodness! It's him! He's not doing his dab. He needs to be doing his dab. Is this a dab? That's just wrong.
Struggling student from the provinces, please, you needn't be in awe of me.
I needn't? You've been good. I've been good as well. I'm just super excited. This is like a dream come true. Capcom actually bringing this game to the West, and I'm having so much fun. What did he go? Nice dab. He's doing a Kamehameha. Oh, yes, of course. Hold on, I can hear it. I can hear it very faintly in the distance. Freaking, where is that thing? Yo, where's that thing? Oh my god, it should just right be here. Where is that? Oh my god. Where? It has been here the entire time. Don't tell me I lost it.
It's only natural that you'd feel nervous in my presence, but all of you, please relax. Call me Soseki, even.
Yes. What on earth is Soseki-san doing here?
Tread carefully, Suzato. That author fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun. For a chicken!
Quick, distract them!
Who let all these chickens in the court? Oh my god! They're attacking Soseki Natsume! They're taking him out of the room! Whoa! How unfortunate! I guess we're gonna have to proceed without that witness.
Yes, of course, I know. I presume Soseki-san won't have forgotten about me. I could never forget of him. How could I? I started noticing his name in like every Persona game from then on out. The moon does look pretty tonight, doesn't it? Thanks for the chicken, Lilu Pain. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so that it's been since I last saw him. Yeah, actually becoming a successful author does that to people. And as for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe. Yo, he's styling. Look at him, he's got drip. And by that I mean he's ready for the bath. And that turtle too. Thanks for the clip, Haru. Do I have something on my face? Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. As long as he doesn't cough up blood, I would have hoped he's seen a doctor in the last 9 months. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either. Ah, I suppose it's this disguise, isn't it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. Whatever floats your boat, dude. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly.
Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. But what business did a writer such as yourself have being at the scene, Soseki-san?
Glasses. My glasses. Well,
Ah, well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture on the morning of the incident in the Imperial Yume University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less.
At Yume University?
After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the medical science department.
Also, he's like... I just realized he's kind of wearing a bathrobe himself now. Bathrobe. If he just stood up a little bit, I could see it probably is tied around. Either that or it's just a kimono of some sort.
That professor over there, in fact.
That Professor Mikotoba?
Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or other about two former students who'd studied in Great Britain.
Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leave me alone. Whoa, whoa! They secretly spy, snapshot, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy.
Yo, who are you? You're not invited to court. What's your name? What's your name? You've got a little bit of smudge on your hand, sir. I bet you're important. That's how I imagine that. Like, huh?
As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my provincial, struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies.
Thank you very much. You practically threw that paper at me. The Soseki Natsume article has been entered into the court record.
Anyway, following my interview with the professor, the lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words.
And I love Soseki's Natsume so much. I hope the real person in real life was this animated. Every dab, every pose demands a living JoJo reference.
As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory under strict surveillance, of course.
Not strict enough.
At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as a detective accompanies her.
Yo, Payne is... Ouchie is slowly turning into Danny DeVito.
Charlie!
That detective, I am at liberty to divulge with me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga. Now I have to start differentiating the voices of Hosonaga and Soseki, because I never thought they'd be in the same room together.
Thereby, the entire party departed cordially for the seaside, it seems.
It was extremely challenging to hear all the other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. Aw, geez, dude. But fortunately, I'm at peak physical fitness at the moment, so you say that while coughing up blood again? I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly. You've got a bit of red on you, sir. Oh my, Inspector, you... Oh, you do have something on your face now. Oh, look at the turtle towel.
Oh, how unsightly. I do apologize.
Does that mean you went to the beach too, Father?
Does that mean you went to the beach too, Father? Oh, you know, Sazato's impression of a male voice is getting better.
No. Fortunately, I had work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place.
Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation.
Oh, but if only I had! I'd never seen that awful sight!
Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret. Stinky armpit.
Very well. I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court.
Because none of that was formal up until now. I can assure you that.
You will give an account of all that you've witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast.
Coof. Of course, Your Excellency.
Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret I am.
Oh. Kind of looks like Naito after he loses it. The things that Soseki has seen. The witness scene. Also, let me just look at this real quick. What? Now he's doing a dab. And he's got the cat. Holding a fan. Probably nothing important on the side. Okay. I've got it. Why is the photo like cracked? Doesn't look like I can examine anything yet. But oh my goodness, if Kurari's involved. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise. I just managed to catch that crab when suddenly it heard a caterwaul from behind me. What crab? What? I feel like you've missed a sentence or two. I ran into the beach hut at once where I found the pair in question. Yes! That young girl was astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand, as she stabbed wildly. There's one stab wound, sir. I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she'd stabbed the victim multiple times. Yo, there's two statements. Fire. Dab so far, he broke the cam lens. And in this day and age, in the year, what, 18-something, that cannot be cheap to replace. Super dab! Indeed.
It does appear from this testimony that both witnesses here present saw it. The very moment of this heinous crime.
What? Now, if you will recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Yes, that was it. Damning evidence. This game is rated.
What's this game rated? This game is rated something.
We can say damn now.
Wait.
What have you there, Counsel?
A so-called fountain pen, is it? The one she had in her hand. Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene whilst examining the body. Enjoy the lyrics, so soft-spoken. If you're going to sleep, let the dulcet tones of my acting carry you to bed. And may you have sweet dreams of chickens and or turtles. Turtles all the way down. It appears that in her dying moments, with her final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify her killer.
What?
I think that's the only thing that Susato has said for the last, 3 lines.
Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over the photographic print of the crime scene once more.
Turtles lay eggs too. See? Turtles and chickens, they're both cousins. It all makes sense. Egg.
Ah, goodness me. There.
Next to the totally irrelevant spilled wine glass.
Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately there in her hand.
That's right, the fountain pen. Dude, Hosonaga is just turning into Date from Yakuza. Detective Date, also known as Goofy, the detective. And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency.
Oh, the owner's initials have been engraved into the ebonite barrel. R.M. Remember me.
Still absolutely reeling over that name. RM. Now, there's got to be somebody else. People. Anybody else with RM? No, not yet, at least.
The initials of the defendant.
No!
Oh, this is looking kind of sus. Koreo appendis.
This fountain pen will be admitted immediately as critical evidence.
The fountain pen has been entered into the court record. RM. No. That pen clearly belongs to Verloc Momes. You know, renowned detective Verloc Momes. Cousin to Herlock Shomes, and also Durlock Loams. And don't forget the most important one. Headlock Gnomes.
So, have I admitted anything? decisive testimony and damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel. Oh, don't give up the towel yet, Ryotaro. Susato! I don't understand. The prosecutor outed him 9 months ago. Had none of this man's poison.
Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now.
I haven't even started the cross-examination yet. We can't give up.
Naruhodo-san!
Naruhodo? That means... Oh, yes, me!
Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom?
Not really. Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom.
Cousin Ryutaro, pull yourself together, please.
All right. I've seen this countless times as a judicial assistant. Find inconsistencies in the witness testimonies to prove that they're lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. So let's see what I can do. My goodness. Let's go. Man, if this was the first stream I ever did of Great Ace Attorney 1, I would have run out of battery by now. It's almost 2 hours and I haven't... This is barely first gameplay. Hey, but you know, I'm all for it. This game, they do the length right.
Objection!
The witness scene. So this should be everything that they just talked about, I think.
Surveillance duty.
Managed to catch that crab. Why are you talking about a crab, sir?
Crab battle.
I'll just do the normal thing and press everything. Just one like that time. Oh no, is it not? Okay, good. I'm at least able to press B to skip dialogue I've read already. In that jaunty disguise? Now you can object, but not right now. We gotta find the right statement. Correct. Wait, no. I mean, it wasn't the first time I've worn this swimsuit for a dip in the ocean. It's tried and tested. Do what must be done to keep the Englishwoman under surveillance. Those were my orders that day. And this tried and tested outfit was the answer. Being able to blend flawlessly into a crowd is the important part of a detective's job. Wait. Turtle. Is this outfit not turtly enough for the Turtle Club? Turtle. I submerged myself in the salty water, leaving only Mr. Turtle floating inconspicuously on the surface. Inconspicuous. Mr. Turtle loves the water. Osanaga, are you okay? Have you been doing well these past 9 months? Should we have kept an eye on you? But there was no need for you to blend into the background on this assignment, really, was there? He just really likes his job.
If that made you late arriving on the scene, I think perhaps you had your priorities wrong.
Perhaps I shouldn't pursue this line of questioning any further at the moment. What the? Prime Presser? This game's got achievements. I just managed to catch that crab. Hold it! Ah! You're describing the victim's scream, presumably, Soseki-san. In more literary terms, you might say it was a scream that could have pierced the heavens like a drill. Or the like. Of course, that's just a metaphor. We renowned authors are wont to describing things so.
My drill is the drill that shall pierce the heavens.
Soseki-san wasn't at all like this in England. You know, he was also in jail in England. This is what he looks like as a free man. Anyway, I spun around at the noise and the beach hut immediately fell under my gaze. Yes, the beach hut. The area is popular with government ministers. Many have seaside retreats there for rest and recuperation. Locals are prohibited from entering the area, so it's always very quiet. The beach hut is a simple structure, erected as a place, stop saying erected, for people to change or take refuge from the sun. although the Englishwoman commandeered the hut for herself, which meant that I was forced to change into my swimwear on the sand. Public nudity? Soseki, you might land yourself in jail again. Stop. I imagine that was rather embarrassing for you. Well, anyway, I tossed the crab aside and headed for the beach hut in a run. Did you use the crab as a sensor bar? For your lobster? Or in more literary terms, I decrabbed and beetled off hutwise. Okay. Okay, Soseki, okay. Alright, okay. Alright, sure, okay. I ran to the beach hut at once. Going to bed. Have a good night, Hector. Sleep well. Wait, by pair, you don't mean to say... But how could that be? No, you'll misunderstand. Obviously, I meant the victim and the defendant. Remember me, son. Oh, it would have been helpful if you could have just said that from the outset. So, this game, along with the latest Ace Attorney on 3DS, have a history which is super useful. Because a lot of times when I play these Ace Attorney games, I'm like, alright, the judge is asking me, what piece of evidence proves that statement? And I'm like, wait, which statement? Even though I just read it, I'm like, wait, did he mean I want to prove or disprove something? So, you know, I'm really helpful that this is all here. I found the pair in question. Pair of people, not pair of underwear. You jump to conclusions. You have to expect to fall flat on your face sometimes.
Dear me, pinning your hopes on such an outside chance. Foolish. Very foolish.
It really was an outside chance. I just wish I'd realized that before I said something silly.
So, Inspector, why don't you tell the court how exactly you found the aforementioned pair in the hut?
Well, it was a sorry sight, a real grisly scene, a real hoinker-doinker of a scene. I parted the Norin curtain hanging in the doorway and stepped inside only to see the defendant leaning menacingly over the lifeless body of the victim sprawled in the sand. My glasses were very nearly cracked at the ominous sight that met my eyes. Ominous.
How thoroughly appalling!
The ominous sight of a muscular chicken, of course.
He doesn't appear to be lying here. Soseki-san, can you confirm what Inspector Hasanaga was saying, I wonder?
You're like a literary man's opinion. Yes, of course.
Yes. Oh my god.
Stabbed wildly. Although I feel like the statement right after is going to be the contradiction.
Stabbed wildly? You actually saw her do it?
Oh, indeed. The terrible spectre, the terrapin spectre, the bloody torrent, the author's torment. That is actually that's a nice flow. Dude spitting bars. Every sight and every sound is still carved in my melancholy memory. That was my impression, at least. As a future literary sensation.
Counsel, what on earth was that shrilly feminine scream?
No, what are you insinuating? I'm as badly a Japanese man as you.
I wonder if I might interject here, Soseki-san. Something you said is troubling me.
About the floor.
That was my impression were your words just now, I believe.
Of course. Look at those eyebrows. Detective Gumshoe must be a great descendant of Soseki Natsume. He's doing the same kind of thing.
So, do you mean to say you're not confident that you really did see what you've described?
No, I mean yes. I know what I saw. My ears didn't deceive me when I heard the scream, hence my eyes did not deceive me either. I could describe everything I saw vividly. I could publish it all in tomorrow's newspaper serial. Cereal. Well, if you want us to take you seriously, Mr. Natsume, could you please stop acting like a bowl of Fruit Loops?
It sounds as though the next installment
Installment? With one L, is that correct?
of I Am a Cat may take a macabre turn.
I think this is a fool's errand. The more we press your author friend on what he saw, the more entrenched he's going to become.
Oh dear. How awkward. Alright, this is the one. Stab the victim multiple times.
Hold it!
I'm gonna press one more time to make sure there's not another statement coming out of that. She was stabbed multiple times? How can you be sure of that? Very simply, from the blood on the blade. The blood? When I entered the hut, I saw the defendant holding the blade raised up in the air.
Yes, that's right. I saw it too.
Oh. And I noted that there was blood on the blade already at that point. You saw the blade? In other words, the victim had already been stabbed at least once by the time I arrived on scene.
Yes, that's right. I saw it too.
And the victim was already holding the defendant's fountain pen in her hand too. All of which means I can be sure the victim did not die instantly.
Yes, right. Saw it too.
Yeah, okay, can somebody get Soseki out of here? He is clearly not a valid witness. Maybe a year in London was too much for him. He sounds like he's forgotten how to speak Japanese. Oh, is he actually saying like,
Yes. The logic of your argument is sound at least.
well, as I said, it's my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Perhaps it should have been your guiding principle to protect the victim flawlessly. Ooh. Got him. That's just my personal opinion, of course. Geez, it's okay, Osunaga. Okay. Next time. Is he going under to wipe his mouth?
Counsel, you will refrain from mocking the witness.
Yo, I'm just saying. Oh no, I just have so many thoughts whirling around in my head. Same. It's all I can do to stand here wide-eyed and mute.
Goodness, my dear, you must really try to calm down.
But how am I supposed to find an inconsistency in what these two gentlemen are saying? I don't see why either of them would have any reason to lie.
What you must remember, I think, is that witnesses may inadvertently lie at times. For various reasons, a misunderstanding, a mistaken observation, a delusion, even...
Ah, a delusion. Hold on, I think I can do something here. Here, text skip. I need to have that on. That'll allow me to press B to skip right through text I haven't read yet, because now I can do this. Just make that all appear at once. It'll help make this go a lot smoother.
What's important is that we determine the truth, and there's only one sure way to do that.
Yes, with evidence, of course.
Spoken like a true judicial assistant. That's my daughter, Naruhodo's cousin. During witness testimony, you can use R to pick...
Okay, we're objecting. I know how to do this. So, here's how we'll do this. After the 2-hour mark of the stream, I'm gonna say I won't press every statement. I'll try to get a little bit more to the point when it comes to cross-examining. Because, I don't want to go for too long tonight, but unlike last time, I am prepared. I don't have to worry about battery life. That's a lot better than the first time I streamed Great Ace Attorney.
Once you've identified a statement, present the evidence and the way ahead will pave the way.
Yes! Alright then. Okay. Geez, really, nosuke has to do all this? All these buttons and prompts. Got like a virtual controller in his mind, man. I'll consider the details of all the evidence and find an inconsistency. I'm hoping I'm up to the task.
Don't forget that you can have the witnesses repeat their statements as many times as you like. This ain't no Danganronpa, there's no time limit. Everyone has to start at the beginning, remember? So those wide eyes are quite forgivable. And besides, There's no one else to defend the poor girl.
You're right. I need to listen to the testimony from the start. Alrighty, I know exactly what to present. Multiple times? I think not. Also, hold on, let me look at this. Oh, I can't. It'll probably prompt me to look at evidence more closely later. For now, only one wound.
Objection!
Objection!
This feeling. This sort of feely feeling. This sort of feely feeling that feels... feely.
My finger points. With that accusatory cry that just welled up from deep inside me, I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san have stood here at the bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed. Somebody gotta stop giving those cows some illicit substances.
What is the meaning of that menacing pose, Counsel?
I'd like the witness to clarify something for me. Who? What? Where? How? Not you, Soseki-san. This query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga. At me?
Igiari!
In your statement just now, you said that the victim was stabbed multiple times. Yes, that's right. As I said, when I entered the hut, the defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand, like a murderous demon. And yet, that cannot be. What?
Get to the point, please, Counsel.
Oh, look at that tiny little book. I love it. In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only.
Oh!
In other words, Inspector Hosonaga's testimony is baloney! And Soseki-san, me? You claim to have seen me-san in the throes of stabbing the victim. Yes, I did. Wildly! Both you and the inspector confirmed the same point. That there was already blood on the knife that you saw the defendant holding. Yes, and, it's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there is no way there could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred.
True! Then what exactly is your contention, Counsel? Are you ever going to tell us?
Yes, Your Excellency. There's only one logical conclusion. What Soseki-san in fact saw was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but the moment that the defendant in fact withdrew the blade from the victim's body. She didn't stab it, she just discovered it. Oh, that is almost exactly what happened with Naruhodo and the gun. That can't be! I love his sandals.
Excellent work, Susato. You exploded at them with that objection, and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically.
Objection! Objection!
I love that voice clip. Can I hear that again? I would love to hear that again. Let me see. Aww.
Objection! Well, this takes me back.
Hey. You look so good in that hat, though.
Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this in that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection attempting to steal half the show. The halftime show.
You're right. There were certain similarities. Except that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who has only half a head of hair.
Ooh!
Slander! My head is quite adequately dressed.
Yeah, uh-huh. Just for the gala, maybe.
In any case, all this talk of stabbing with drawing and multiple wounds? It makes not a jot of difference.
Not a jot.
What? Why not? Engage your brain, young man.
No, that's too hard. I can't do that. I don't even have a brain.
When the accursed first plunged the deadly weapon into the victim, that was the fatal blow. It was that moment that, just as she'd withdrawn the blade ready for her next strike, that the witnesses saw. The knife was already tainted with blood because the accuser had already stabbed the victim. Ah! All you have successfully shown with your little display is that the mustache-showed author is prone to moments of extravagance.
I think Soseki's trying to, like, shake an invisible cat.
Morgana!
Ah!
I'm in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicion.
We're right back to square one. It's okay, it was the very first objection of the game. They can't all be winners.
But if she was withdrawing the blade, then we are back where we started.
Sorry?
Consider this, young yokel boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim? And with a demon's cold-blooded composure, too. The prosecution demands an explanation, and it had better be good.
Why did Ray pull out the knife?
Ah, yes. Going for the jugular.
Can we not? I don't want any more freaking murder puns.
Huh? What does father mean by that?
Let the court hear your answer then, counsel.
The truth is, I don't really know. But I have to come up with a plausible reason here. Oh, we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife blade out of the victim's body was surely so she could save her life or hide the knife. Well, if we go by what we already know, we don't know where the knife is. So thinking about it backwards, I think she did hide the knife. For what reason, I can't say why yet. But the only mention of a knife we know about is from the post-mortem report and the testimonies, so there's gotta be a reason it's not here, right? Hide the knife? I'll come up with a reason later. I'll come up with the explanation now. That is how the Ace Attorney do. I think it was possibly so that she could hide the murder weapon.
Objection! No! And yet the murder weapon was left there, thrust into the sand of the sea. Wait, was it?
I don't see it. Anybody else see it? No, these are feathers. No. He's lying.
Was it?
Having pulled the knife from the victim, she couldn't find a place to hide it, so that was her only option, perhaps?
Wait, what?
I think, counsel, that you were ill-advised with your answer initially, and you were further ill-advised to pursue it.
Now, hold up now. No, hold up. I intentionally looked at the picture. I don't see no knife anywhere around here at all. Am I missing something? Am I like... No, I'm looking at the picture. I don't see one. Maybe it's just a really bad picture. This job was not to be taken lightly. That's so much pressure. Just because you're under pressure. Well, it's obviously not to stab her again, so it's to save her. So, question why? According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant. That's correct. It's thought she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury.
Indeed. Giving her the time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer.
Looking kinda sus. No, hey now, I actually looked at the evidence to come to that conclusion about the knife. You tell me where's the knife in the picture, I'll wait.
Then the point is,
Being a medical research assistant, Membami-san was compelled to act when faced with a wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to leave it in.
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? It would seem this is the best we can expect of this young yokel.
Indeed.
Aw, is it just me or does it suddenly feel much colder in here? I wish. It's summertime, it's hot for me. Your Excellency, if I may.
Speak, witness.
I would like another opportunity to testify. In respect to the slipshod assertion just put forward by the Yokel Defense Council, I mean. Well, you know, at least it didn't give me a penalty. Slipshod?
An excellent idea, Inspector. Our young yokel hopeful has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems. But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense.
Very well, Inspector. I will permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the Defense Counsel's assertion.
Yes, sir. I will do so flawlessly. Forensic Medicine Primer. Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding. That's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. Which is like why, you know, to me, the options were between saving her life and hiding the knife. Like, oh, I don't know, maybe her initials were also on the knife. But like, I know that you're not supposed to take a knife out of a person's wound because it's plugging the wound. Taking it out causes bleeding. That's what he's talking about right now. But I guess, you know, Remember Me doesn't know that. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Let's not forget that the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. The man the victim murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Watson. Watson was the defendant's highly respected mentor. So, given what I know, if pulling out the knife was to save her life, then there had to be something about the knife that was more dangerous to leave in. And how does curare enter the body? Through a wound? I remember that. Is that what you said? Is what you said just true, Inspector? Could pulling a knife from a wound really cause the wound to bleed heavily? Because if that's the case, you'd want it to bleed so that it would let the poison out. Because curare ain't no joke. Yes, think of the weapon itself as a stopper in the wound that prevents excessive blood loss. Until a doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, that stopper shouldn't be removed. Oh, I see.
Ha! This is why yokels should stay on the farm!
Hey, now what about chickens? Should chickens stay on the farm? Let's ask Herlock Sholmes.
I've got it. Without a shadow of a doubt, it must be a chicken.
Thank you, Herlock Sholmes.
Even a quack from some obscure mountain village would have such basic knowledge.
Ask a cow.
You know, we've asked enough farm animals. I think we've got the decisive testimony. But I'll try, Yellow Pikachu.
Anyone who's ever given someone a little poke with a knife and pulled it out again knows it.
Not everyone? Not really, no. Oh, well, I've never stabbed anyone, you see. Or pulled a blade out of a wound, so...
Of course you haven't. I didn't bring you up to behave like a bandit.
Father, is it true what they're telling me?
Yes, it's basic remedial knowledge for medics. Ray would have been well aware of it. If she were to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways.
But then, why would Ray have done it? I got a theory. Could she have pulled out the knife in full knowledge that it would be fatal for Miss Brett? Zane Internet, welcome on in. Enjoy the show.
I don't know.
Ray never once mentioned anything about the knife to me. It seems almost impossible to believe, but
Could my friend actually have...
No! Believe in your client. Believe in the you that believes in the client.
Susato,
Yes? Hey,
pull yourself together. We mustn't lose sight of why we're here. Counsel, it's time for your cross-examination.
oh, yes, Your Excellency.
It's pronounced Anna. You also got by Shannon. Well, hello, Shannon. I know you've been here on the stream before. It's been a while. Hope you've been well. But, I've been saying Xana this... I've been saying Xana this whole time. But, good to know, Xana.
However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to identify any issue with the established facts, I will be moving to my adjudication immediately afterwards.
I got this.
I understand. Believing in your clients and fighting for their cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it would be this hard.
Haven't seen Code Lyoko. Not in a long time, I haven't. Forensic medicine primer. Pulling a blade from a wound would cause heavy bleeding. Basic knowledge. In other words, there's no good reason. This is the point I have contention with. Let's press it.
Hold it!
Hold it! No big evil has been here. Let's stop by more. Fair enough, Santa. Yeah, welcome on in. We're playing the second Great Ace Attorney. I'm sure you know by now. I don't remember if you were here for my first Great Ace Attorney stream, but finally it's out. Finally, Capcom has localized it, and we're playing the second right now. It's pretty good. Pretty good. I just have contention with the details of this photo. I see no knife in the sand, do you? I don't. Then again, this photo is from the 1800s, so whatever.
But the defendant had suddenly encountered somebody she knew lying on the ground, bleeding to death. The sight could have shocked her delicate sensibilities, causing her to remove the blade inadvertently.
I really don't think inadvertent actions can explain this. The woman is a medical research assistant. I can't imagine she would behave so irrationally. Poor dude. Kosunaga? Yeah, the dude, he hasn't seen a doctor in 9 months? Dude, you're bleeding.
Oh, but irrational behavior is a woman's prerogative, isn't it?
Whoa. Oh dear, you have a lot to learn about women. Kosunaga, you don't even know. You don't even know who you're talking to. Only a small-minded man could have such bigoted views. Check yourself, man.
Oh dear. Perhaps I'm letting my male persona take hold a little too much.
Okay, just hold back. Please. Hold back on that misogyny just a little bit. Maybe a bit, please. Well, have I managed to convey the basics now? That should cover the medical side of the argument. See, I feel like I can't make the argument I want to make until I prove that there might have something to do with curare. At this point in time, I think if I press something else, maybe it'll come up, because I can't examine anything in this photo yet. Maybe something about the case from 9 months ago. Yeah, this one.
Hold it!
The whole thing about... What? Oh, man. Apparently I've limited myself on the curare. No matter, I have other ways of, triggering it. Oops. Well, I just killed it. Alright, well, curare is dead. That's not great. Huh. Well, that kind of sucks. Hold on, I can fix this. It's fine.
Well, yes, that's true.
Dr. Watson recognized Member-Misan's talent and offered her the position of assistant despite her being a woman. She was extremely grateful to him. Yes, the Englishman appears to have been a very broad-minded individual.
Dr. Watson had no time for outdated traditions. He met with opposition, of course, but he believed firmly in Member-Misan's abilities.
Clearly, the defendant was in the man's debt, which only serves to prove my point. Is Ryotaro... This is Susato dressing up as a man in order to pass off as a lawyer in the court. But she is very much Susato. She has not changed her identity in any way. Just pretending to be a man for the purposes of today's trial, to make that clear. This is hopeless! I can't find a single crack in his testimony anywhere. If Ray knew that withdrawing the knife from the wound would threaten Miss Brett's life further, I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it. Why the old-timey swimsuit? This game takes place in the 1800s. This is just a swimsuit at this point in time.
Susato, it's at times like these when it's especially important to remember the fundamentals.
The fundamentals? Evidence, evidence. I need to get more. So let's go press stuff, I guess. Yeah. Wasn't every court a kangaroo court back then? I know what to do. This is Ace Attorney. Like, even when it takes place in the modern day, every court's a kangaroo court. And it's up to Phoenix Wright and sometimes the help of the prosecutor to just expose justice and the truth. Oh, look at that. Okay, so it is telling me to look at the court record. Maybe I'm only able to do that now? Well, let's try it. Oh yeah, this pen. I wasn't able to look at the pen earlier. RM. And there's like a stamp over here? Nothing is out of ordinary here. Back then they had evil judges, not inept judges. Well, at the very least, in Great Ace Attorney up until now, and Ace Attorney up until now, we haven't had an evil judge. We've had questionable prosecutors, but they tend to see the light by the end of the game. Or they just go absolutely insane and bang their heads on the wall. But, yeah, nobody in Ace Attorney mostly is evil. Just, they tend to overlook all the facts. And, you know, especially the judges, who are the ones who are probably supposed to pay the most attention. They're the most lovable of the bunch. You never hate them, hopefully. Hopefully not in this game. The RM initials are very clearly engraved here. And the fact that Miss
Brett was clinging to this pen in her dying moments is very clearly a message, too.
To identify her killer, you mean?
I don't think there can be any doubt that this is a key piece of evidence in this case.
What about the murderers? Are they evil? Well, Ace Attorney has, you know, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. There are people who are absolutely terrible, and there are people who, you know, sometimes accidentally murder. Sometimes they're caught in a tragic position. Sometimes they lose themselves in a fit of revenge, in a fit of panic. Ace Attorney is always pretty good at making these situations more complex than just, I kill you because I hate you. There's some sort of emblem here, look! Yeah, but it isn't the Yume University one. What is it then?
It must belong to some other organization, I suppose. A business of some kind. But that would seem to imply that the pen doesn't in fact belong to Ray.
So we gotta find out who else has initials RM. But who? Interesting. Does the pen come off? If we take out the pen's lid... It's a fountain pen, cool. Don't get any ink on yourself now. You're not a fan of the lore of Ace Attorney? It's a blast to hear it acted. Yeah. At the very least, I wanna at least hope you enjoy the show, you know? Even if you haven't played the first one, I do have a command, exclamation TGAA. It sort of kind of summarizes the first game. Not really that much, but if you need to see what's going on. Also, Gangthar, thanks for the lurk. Nothing appears obviously out of the ordinary here, does it? Does it? There's a lot of ink in this pen. Oh, geez, you know what is kinda messing me up? At the very least, the DS version of the game, or rather 3DS version, when you highlight over something important to look at, it shows a little icon that says inspect or something like that. Here I can always inspect, which means I actually have to start looking for important stuff. Maybe it's not RM, maybe it's WY? That's not right at all. Oh, actually, it does change the icon. Now let's unscrew the barrel, shall we? There we go, here we go, we might uncover something. It's empty! This must be the little reservoir that holds the ink.
Yes, you fill it by drawing ink from a bottle through the nib.
Is something wrong, Father?
Just that there doesn't actually appear to be any ink in here, that's all.
Oh, maybe it held poison? Oh, yes, you're right. It's pretty much empty. Well, it could be on the verge of running out, I suppose. The details have been updated. There's a very small amount of liquid. Can I see the liquid? I don't think there's anything else I can look at. No, yeah, I think we're good. Alright, okay. Now, let's see if there's anything to do with the article. Oh, this is a whole thing now. Boopa, boopa, boopa. Yeah!
Suspicion!
This is the newspaper from Soseki-san. There seems to be an important article on the back page as well. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. Again with the poison. From Yume Medical Research. Father, isn't that your lab?
What the? Let me see that.
How does he not know about it? It's his lab.
The poison's been stolen? Oh no!
It's this morning's paper that Soseki-san gave us. Are you saying you didn't know? Who reported it?
As embarrassing as that is for the head of the laboratory, I didn't. I've not heard any such thing. Where on earth could that reporter have gleaned this information?
That's what I want to know. Come to think of it, there was no article mentioning the story in our paper this morning, was there?
It's a highly toxic poison we've been working on in the strictest confidence.
Why? That's how you start Resident Evil, man.
I'd put Ray in charge of the project.
Ray? She was managing it?
If what's written here is true, it means that she tried to hide the theft from me. And moreover, the details were leaked somehow. Like a leaky pen.
I don't believe it.
We need to read this article very carefully.
But I can't read Japanese. Especially when it's this blurry, oh my goodness. See what I do. Article has been entered into the court record. Wow. Yo, this is... Wait a minute, what's that? Wait, is this an advertisement for like hair growth tonic? Is that Prosecutor Ouchie right there? Yo, that's a diagram of Ouchie's bald head and his little fertilized seed of hair. I'm so glad I noticed that. That is such a small little thing. What else is on here? Bottles, fingerprints, I guess? That's funny. What's on the front? It's the streamer that makes the stream. That do be true, and I try to make this at least a little bit of my own kind of thing. Me playing the game not just to entertain myself, but to share it with people, you know? Raucous England returnees tell all. This is the interview with you and Soseki-san, is it, Father? Nice dab. It looks as though it was quite an exchange.
Yes, he became a little overanimated when he was talking about his time in England. The photographer managed to capture the moment his hand karate chopped me in the neck. Look! Boy, did that make my Adam's apple feel like an Adam's chopped tree.
I do hope you weren't hurt. Hair eye corn. Corn?
Corn.
Just making sure I haven't missed anything else in the paper. What is it dated? Can I see that? No, it's too blurry. I would love to get an exact date. Oh, what does it say? And this, oh, look at this. I recognize that bull head anywhere. Rakure Bare? I think that's Lakantos? Oh, no, wait. I saw a little bit of the first game on somebody else's stream in this translation. I think they changed the kana to match the localized name. Really? Because apparently in this version it's called like La Carnival or something. That might have been a thing that they just did for Scarlet Studies translation though. Well, that's Lakantos. That's the restaurant from the first game. Magnifying glass. I sure am magnifying. Such a minute detail too. That, you know what, that's probably the actual original name and Scarlet Study localized it. But what probably ended up happening is Capcom themselves kept it as it was. It's those little things that are very interesting to me. Now that we can finally compare an official localization to the fan translation, which is right up there, I think, with the Mother 3 fan translation. They went through the trouble of like hacking in the game's code to make sure it properly handles English and everything. Pretty good, pretty good. Let me just read all this real quick.
Hold it!
I might not voice act it, but I just want to see if there's anything I've missed. Pulling a knife out without thinking could be a problem. If you used care and attention, would it be alright? I wouldn't have thought this needed spelling out, really, but the blade is like a stopper in the wound. Hemorrhage will occur. A medic would need to be present. Ray's kind of like a medic, not really. Doing it without thinking would be madness. You just can't do it. Oh, well, thank you for an explanation.
You see, Council? When you act without thinking, the result is a bloodbath.
Shut up, ouchie. God.
Back to the witness testimony. Warden.
Anyone with medical knowledge should know. In that case, there's an obvious explanation here.
Which is?
Clearly the defendant, Remember Me-san, does not possess an ounce of sense.
No thanks, bro.
What do you think about that, Professor Mikotoba? Yeah, I don't think we're using the dumb argument here.
I am not sure you should be labeling your best friend as lacking in common sense.
That only works for Larry. Not Larry Coon, Larry Butts. Well, I thought it would be better than labeling her as a murderer.
I don't know, young people today. If that's friendship, I don't understand it.
Don't worry, it'll be in fashion in about 100-something years when social media becomes a thing. Friends make fun of each other all the time.
Careful, Counsel. A lack of common sense can be a very dangerous thing.
Oh dear. That recorded me rather badly.
That's life, I'm afraid.
Basic medical knowledge, okay. Well, that's not it. At all. Motive.
Hold it!
I think this is the last thing I haven't pressed. Whatever the motive, it just isn't in Member-B-san's nature to do something so awful. But she had both motive and opportunity. You don't know the defendant.
Objection!
And you, Council, do not appear to know the law.
Wait. Yes, evidence is the only way to convince the court of your argument, not feelings. Well, good, because you're hurting my feelings.
With this fledgling to defend her, I would almost say I pity the accused.
So do I. Inspector, you will reiterate your point about the motive. Ah, yes. Miss Pratt was in many ways the sworn enemy of Member-Me-san. Man, Dr. Wilson, highly respected mentor. Can't find a crack in the testimony. Okay, well. So does that mean everything I have is already available to me then? Okay, let's start thinking about it. Something that might be a good reason to pull out the blade. Poison. Now that I know something about the poison, maybe I can say the knife was poisoned? This is a little bit of a stretch because it requires me to present knowledge I may not might not know yet, but I'm gonna say this is the only link I have. Good reason. Poison.
Objection!
Go. Thank you. No. There is one possibility. One very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound. What? What? Quack, quack. I surprised him so much he turned into a duck.
What? Ha! The yokel not only has a poor grasp of the law, but is also a poor loser.
Loser. Don't you earthworm Jim me, man.
Tell us then, what possibility do you think you've identified?
It's here, in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison having been stolen from a lab at the Imperial Yume University.
Objection!
The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance in this case.
So it may not be curare, but is it more deadly? They were developing it after all.
Prosecutor Ouchie, you will let the defense speak.
What? The newspaper article! The court cannot rely on the kind of hearsay those wretched publications carry.
Okay, sir, I trust the newspapers from the 1800s more than the ones from today. At the very least. I'm sure they had more integrity back then.
Get some integrity. Counsel for the defense. I'm going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You will indicate to the court precisely what part of the newspaper article mentions affirms your assertion.
Your Excellency!
Yes, of course. Thank you. Ray would never have done something to further endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife from the victim's body explained in the article is where it says... Oh, wait. I can probably examine the whole thing. Oh, here we go. Okay, deadly poison. A lecture by Natsume. Very stirring incident. Deadly poison being secretly developed in the forensic science laboratory is stolen. Smallest amount entering the body either by either by mouth or by a wound from a poison-laced blade would prove fatal in minutes. Current methods cannot detect the newly developed chemical. The university would have to be consulted. Mouth or wound. Onset the symptoms occurs in minutes, starting with impaired breathing and ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death, just like her eyes. Oh, wait a minute. Symptoms would be suggestive of the toxins. Apparently an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids and rumored to have been commissioned by the military. So something about deadly in tiny quantities. Yeah, that's it. That's why it had to be pulled immediately. Ryutaro's got that Raido Kuzunoha energy. I'm Dante from Devil May Cry. Heck yeah. Rexadecimal, welcome in. This is Susato Mikotoba, but right now she is Ryutaro Naruhodo. Because she's awesome. The article reveals the following property about the poison in question. When the toxin enters the body on a knife laced with the poison, it is rapidly absorbed and causes death in minutes. Are you suggesting? If the knife used to attack Miss Brett was laced with this very poison, it would explain why the defendant, Mimami-san, would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible. But it was too late. Yes, the truth is, it was an attempt to stop the poison from entering the victim's body. Got him. Please tell me that the opening trial to this game is less complex than the first game, because I loved it so much. You know, with Koban and the steak and the baby and the collector. That was a lot of witnesses for the first trial, I'll say. First Ace Attorney game ever only had one witness, and he was the killer. There, done, plain, simple, done in an hour. This is already almost going on for 3. Yeah. I'm going to stab them to save their life. I'm sure there's an anime or two about that. Rex, if you don't know, this is the second game in Great Ace Attorney series. I played the first one on stream by fan translation 2 years ago. Second one's finally out. Both of them are out, officially translated by Capcom. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. They have not lost their edge at all. I highly recommend it if you're an Ace Attorney fan.
This is complete and utter nonsense!
No, Yauchi, you can believe it. Capcom really did bring this game to the Americas.
What?
Not at all. Oh, apparently not. The defendant withdrew the knife blade from the victim's body not to accelerate the woman's demise, but to save her life, and the prosecution cannot deny the possibility.
Have you not read the post-mortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhage. The word poison appears nowhere in the document.
You can't detect it yet. Well, that's because by acting quickly to remove the blade, the defendant prevented the poison from taking hold.
Objection! Oh, please! This is clearly desperation. The weasel's last breaking of wind.
The weasel's last what now?
Poison has nothing whatsoever to do with this case, as I believe the defense is well aware. We have no proof that the information in this wretched newspaper article is at all reliable anyway. Masaka! Bakana! Bakana!
In that situation, what the student would have done is wait for medical assistance to arrive. But instead, you claim she suspected poisoning and took the potentially lethal decision to remove the blade? She must have had a strong reason for her suspicions then, or the argument makes no sense.
Exactly. Well put, Inspector. On what grounds did she do it, huh, yokel? Step.
Why did Ray suspect the stolen poison was involved? If you want grounds, I'll give you grounds. You can have battlegrounds. You can have players unknown battlegrounds. Nobody plays it anymore.
What?
Sorry, that reference is ahead of our time. But your kids are gonna love it. What? And also Fortnite.
You can't possibly!
From your expression, counsel, it would appear that those are not empty words.
Good, I'm lying successfully. What?
But naturally, as you stand in this courtroom as a lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, are not of value to our modern justice system.
Justin system.
This court demands evidence, as decreed by Judge Justin. That is why we call it the Justin system.
It's a very good TV show. Runs alongside Judge Judy. Also, are TVs existent in this time? I don't think so. Yes, Your Excellency. I'm well aware of that. I've seen it many times from my old place at his side in the Old Bailey.
In that case, counsel, you'll present the proof to the court now. What evidence demonstrates a clear link between this case and the poison in the newspaper article?
I think the fact that her eyes were all constricted. Yeah, extreme meiosis and the cause of death. Here we go, let's put that.
Take that!
I would ask the court to refer to the notes section of the post-mortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction, was observed in the victim. Extreme mitosis, too.
She was just all her cells just dividing all over the place. Ugh, it was gross.
I should say. Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have no idea, so please do tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report means that it's an unusual symptom of death.
Well,
Under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies, but not constrict. If there was extreme constriction instead, that is most certainly unusual, yes.
what are you doing, you yokel detective?
In the newspaper article, there's the following information about the stolen poison. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death.
What?
If the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice that the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes are constricted severely,
Yes. As a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt.
Hunger! Hungry! So hungry!
Prosecutor Ouchie,
What?
I think you'll agree. This is very compelling evidence.
You! Yokel student and yokel professor! Ah! Hungry hippos!
I believe the defense has expertly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions.
No!
Yujin Mikotoba. Yes, Your Excellency. I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense counsel's argument.
How convenient that he's also on my side. Frickin' Ouchie's obsessed with calling people yokels. You know, from what I've noticed, as well as from the first game, he is just projecting himself on everybody he sees. And it's a little bit sad at this point. To just know that his lineage does that for decades and millennia. At the very, not millennia, at the very least centuries.
You will tell the court the truth about the details reported in this newspaper, please.
Beep, 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 beep.
It pains me to have to admit it. But I'm afraid I don't know.
It's so secret, not even he's aware of its effects.
You don't know?
The toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly, but I wasn't aware of any theft.
Do you mean to tell the court that the reports of this theft are unfounded?
No.
No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the laboratory to investigate myself, I couldn't say.
That's the thing. ManokAdobo was out the whole time. He hadn't been back to his lab. Ray was in charge of it. So she's the perfect person to have stolen that poison. She probably did. But she probably didn't come to the beach with the intention of poisoning Giselle, no. Oh, geez. I can't wait to see how this develops.
Ha! Listen to the bumbling academic. Unaware of the theft of secret state research from his own workplace until he reads it off the newspaper.
I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision.
Father! Tusk! A pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students, rather than allowing them off on killing sprees.
Hey, if they just want to play Halo, that's not their fault. It's a good game.
Killing spree.
That's totally unfounded.
Hold it! Who's talking? Who's here? Oh, hi, May. Ray May. May. Deuterino, welcome on in. Enjoy the show.
None of this is Professor ManokAdobo's fault. It's all my fault.
So, Seki, you okay, man? You, trying to say something? You trying to lay an egg? Oh. Yeah, just scoot like a foot to the left, please. We got a danger zone over here.
Ray!
Remember me, son. You stand accused here. Outbursts like this will not be tolerated.
But it was me. I was the one who noticed that the poison we were developing had been stolen that day.
What?
So you know. It was either Ray or it was Giselle. Either way, both were involved in this.
I'd been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was the day that the professor and Soseki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper.
Flash zone. Oh no, how are you saying it's wet? Oh.
That's when I noticed some of the poison was missing. Just a tiny amount it was.
Yeah, and there might be some poisonous gas leaking from Natsume over there. Just here, put on this mask.
Why didn't you let me know immediately?
I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin had somehow been taken.
Deadly neurotoxin.
So I decided to try to get it back before anyone else found out.
So if Giselle stole it, Ray was just trying to get it back. How did it end up on the knife?
Because I had a very good idea who the thief was.
The thief?
You don't mean... Yes, of course. It was that dainty Englishwoman.
Dainty? Miss Giselle Brett.
That's why I decided to join the little group of people going to the seaside, selling seashells by the seashore. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as if she knew she was untouchable.
You don't think... Maybe it was suicide? What? No, okay, so the stool is there. No, maybe Giselle completely intended to off herself and pin it on Ray as her last show of revenge against Yume University. Oh! No, I would not put it past her. If that's really all her doing, oh boy, do I have some choice words for her. Just give me a second while I choose them, because I have to watch what I say on a PG-13 stream. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? Is that her only line in this game? Oh, okay. Well now, whatever do you mean? I keep making her Scottish. What's going on here? Whatever? Hello? And then she suddenly got to her feet before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing on the floor. Huh? That's when I saw the knife in her back. I couldn't understand what had just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. The pupils of her eyes had shrunk to tiny pinpoints.
I don't believe it. In other words, you realized that the victim was suffering the effects of the stolen poison.
My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips while I've been with her, which left only one possible way for the poison to have entered her body. On the blade of the knife in her back. Now, yes, but there's also this wine glass. You saw something in the back of the wall? I don't think... Oh, this... I had noticed that there's like a crack. There's just like a small crack in the back of the hut. Maybe she was stabbed through there. It's not a knife, but hey, that's important to notice. On the blade of the knife in her back.
Enough for a knife.
I mean, the blade of a knife, but not the knife proper. That could be why the knife doesn't appear in the photograph.
And the train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade.
Yes, if the amount that had entered her bloodstream was small enough, she might have had a chance. That's what I'd hoped. Really, I'm so sorry for staying silent all this time. It would have helped us immensely, but thank you for coming clean.
Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something that can be overlooked. However, I have duly noted the courage with which you confessed in the end.
Thank you, Your Excellency. It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here, in this courtroom now. She's imagining that big old... Shut up, Ouchie. She's imagining that big old scale in the English court, I bet. You want to pick it up now? This game is wonderful. They have evolved so much since the days of Justice for All, I'll tell you that much. Play Trials and Tribulations, play Greatest Attorney 1, play Greatest Attorney 2, play... Well, Apollo Justice, I like it, but I know a lot of people don't. I'd say it's a lot better than 5. 5, I honestly don't like. But 6 is great. 5 is just a weird point because it was like the first 3DS one, so they dumbed it down a little bit. Neither here nor there.
Your Excellency, do not be deceived!
Wasn't Hosonaga inside? What? No, it can't. It can't be. He can't be. No. Hosonagi's a good boy, though. He helped us in the first case. Unless he has a motive against Giselle from that first case.
The victim just collapsed before your eyes, you say? Well, Memba-me-san, if that's the case, perhaps you could explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed? Well, You have no answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim motivated by revenge.
Objection!
Objection. But you have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you? He doesn't.
Oh, I have evidence, and it's very much conclusive.
He just goes like, What are you doing?
Yeah, here's this piece of paper. It says you're an idiot.
Ouchie, we can't accept that as evidence.
Of course it's evidence. I brought it up just now. I made this evidence.
Yeah, that's illegal.
What? No, it's not. I made it. How can it be illegal?
Yeah, he's not very good of a prosecutor, is he? Huh? What is the prosecution counsel up to? Please tell me it's another witness so I can just cross-examine them. It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there. I'm almost sure of it.
You will produce the aforementioned evidence at once, Prosecutor Ouchie.
Ouchie! Ouchies!
Perhaps some praise is due, young yokel student.
What?
I'd imagine there would be no need for me to submit this evidence.
Of course. But it's always something very important.
But you brought this on yourself.
I immediately noticed that it has the same kind of crack on the photo lens as the picture that took Soseki's. I just haven't... For some reason, the player character doesn't want to comment on it.
You brought this on yourself.
No, yeah, we're just taking it out. And I guess we're looking through the crack in the back? Dang, though.
What the?
Could a more damning shot exist? Cruelty in the air on that beach is almost palpable. That crack's gotta be important.
This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accursed's murderous nature.
Because if the crack is the same, that means it was taken with the same camera, which means it's whoever took the picture at the interview.
For it shows the precise moment that Membami-san plunged her dagger into the victim's back.
Or, you know, took it out.
No, that's not true. No!
Massacre! Brakana!
I don't believe it. Oh! Ah! Ouch.
Order! Order! Order!
I'll have a number 5, a number 9, number 9 extra large. No, not that kind of order.
Counsel for the defense, was it you who was responsible for that shrill scream that just pierced my courtroom?
Perhaps his voice is yet to break.
Geez.
These yokels are slow of mind and slow to mature.
I'll show you who's slow to mature. Definitely not your hairline. Got him.
Careful now. Susato is starting to show her face here. It is so often they said that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and here we have ample proof. The court will accept this extremely cogent
Cogent?
photographic print as evidence.
Like, I'm taking this as we have to interpret it as her taking the knife out, like she said. Like we've been asserting this whole time. So, there has to be a reason that somebody took this picture intending for it to be seen the other way. Is it somebody we know of yet? I can't tell, but we'll see. I can't believe he's had a photograph like this up in his sleeve the entire time. It's such a stark image. I'm genuinely lost for words.
Wait a minute. I don't understand. How did you... I mean, who took that photograph?
Look at this photo.
Ray. That's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention. I'm the prosecutor. What I say goes.
Oh,
Objection!
that's an absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took this photographic print was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony. Here we go. Here we go. Wherever this is, they're gonna slip up. And the judge says,
I will uphold the defense's demand.
this has gotta be it. I'm expecting a break in the story, like right now. I'm expecting it to be like, da-na-na-da-da. Do you like to save?
The prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once.
Now you're sweating. Bullets even, but why?
Well, I'm afraid I can't do that.
Are they British? Just tell me, Ouchie. Is this the same as last time? You just can't. You just can't be allowed to say because they're British. Oh, wait a minute! I think we've seen him already. You know, there's that reporter following Soseki and that around, and he has a little smudge on his hand. A smudge of ink. I swear, if we talk to this guy and his initials are RM, we got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Well, I'm afraid we can't do that.
Pardon?
You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday.
It got mailed anonymously. In real life, revealing a photo at the last second would be grounds for a mistrial and sanctions against the prosecution. Yet it happens all the time in Ace Attorney. There's even a plot point that gets ignored wholesale in the rest of the series. In the first game, there's a part where, like, evidence law states that you cannot present new evidence to the courtroom unless it has been approved by the police department, and also, something about it being relevant to the trial at hand. So, like, there's evidence that you have to, like, specifically withhold with the intent that, like, the prosecution knows that you shouldn't know about it yet. So if you bring it up prematurely, then you're revealing your hand that you know too much already. But if you let the prosecution slip up first, then present the evidence, then bada bing, bada boom, bada bang. You actually have to invoke bringing up the evidence late in order for it to make sense for your argument. And, like, there's the whole point about having it to be approved. Yet the prosecution always brings in new evidence all willy-nilly without prior approval. Maybe, maybe not. I can't tell. I don't know. Maybe Edgeworth gets special treatment because he's Edgeworth. But I don't know if that seems 100% fair.
But there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address.
Name and address withheld.
The provenance of the print is unknown.
Goodness!
Are we to understand then, counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, you nevertheless believe it fit for submission as evidence in the Supreme Court?
When you first produced that print before, I noticed that you hesitated for a brief moment.
Edgeworth and Von Karma probably get treatment, special treatment. Von Karma I can understand. The judge gets whipped otherwise.
Because you knew it wasn't completely unreliable evidence, didn't you?
Silence, you yokel student and blabbering professor!
I kind of wish he said nutty professor.
What matters is the blatant truth that this print so eloquently expresses.
But the defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Oh, you mean the other Von Karma? Well, then, in that case, the judge gets even worse than whipped. Probably tasered, punched, yelled at, and you do not want to be the target of that yell. Clearly, this isn't the moment the knife was plunged into the victim's back, but
the moment it was withdrawn. Don't waste the court's time with your ramblings.
If only they had video back then.
Indeed. Without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. And the scene it captures is without doubt the most compelling evidence presented to the court. If the defense is unable to shed any further light on the matter, I believe the conclusion is clear.
Oh no!
Susato, this is time for you to fight. If what you've established so far is true, then there can be no doubt.
No doubt in my mind.
This photograph shows the moment when Ray withdrew the blade from the victim.
Yes, we just need to prove that somehow.
You'll have plenty of time to rule your defeat on the slow train back to the provinces.
It is you who is getting on the slow train, Mr. Ouchie, and I think you've been on the slow train this entire time. Now, do you choose justice, or you choose defeat?
To rue the day you came up against Oochie Coochie Ouchie in his court of law.
If I can't determine who took this photograph, then the trial is going to come to an end. Is it these chickens? Maybe one of you know. Do you? How about you? Who let you in the courtroom? Shouldn't the bailiff be stopping this right now? Oh, okay. Kangaroo court, farm court, all the same. There must be a clue somewhere. Oh, it's that chicken. There you go. Thank you, Haru. Thank you, Goku. There must be a way of working out who took it.
Well, Counsel,
Yeah, I already saw this like 5 million light years ago.
Your Excellency, the burning question who took that photograph. And the truth is, I have the answer.
Whoever took the photograph for the paper. I can't believe you submitted a picture to the paper with like a cracked lens, dude.
This isn't about whether I can or can't come up with the answer now.
You have to, or you're screwed. Where have we heard that at Ace Attorney before? Only all the time.
I simply have to.
slam.
The identity of the person who took the dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal soon, in a couple of sentences. I am not stalling for time. What? No, you can't possibly. But as you so boldly claim that you can, please do enlighten us. Unfortunately, I'm unable to present a name.
Aha!
How utterly underwhelming. Did you really believe you could? However, I am able to present evidence. The defense has a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity. What? What? Oh.
Very well then, Counsel. Present your proof to the court.
And prevent Ouchie from taking another breath of air. Which piece of evidence do you claim reveals something about the photographer? I don't know. This article? There's not like a spider web in the picture, I assure you.
Take that! What is that? The newspaper again? Raucous England returnees tell all.
It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's the photograph. If you look at it closely, you'll notice that there are some white lines on the right-hand side.
Ah, yes indeed. They'd already caught my eye as it happens.
Ha! What of it? A shadow of some kind, presumably, from the branches of a tree or the like.
You know, I kind of get why they don't realize what's going on here, because photography is new to this time period, so they probably don't know it involves like lenses and mirrors. So like that's a crack, it's not just a blemish.
From the branches of a tree or the like.
There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university, I can assure you. Not even a bonsai tree.
Now, if you look closely at the photograph, every time I look it makes me laugh.
No, this one makes me cry.
Good gracious! The same spider made the same kind of web.
Yes, exactly the same pattern of lines is present on this photograph too.
Objection!
Your reaction! Well. That tells us nothing! Yes! It's a shadow of some kind, definitely! From the branches of a tree!
That is exactly what you just said, man! If you don't have donuts, why don't you go nut?
There wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut at the beach, Council.
What's quite remarkable about it is that the two patterns are absolutely identical. How could such an extraordinary similarity have transpired?
The curious matching pattern that appears on both photographic prints is a result of
a camera defect.
Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs.
I mentioned this when I played the first game, but it is really funny to me that finally we're in an age where these black and white photographs are actually period accurate and the height of technology at the time. Because there was always this thing about, if you don't know, the first Ace Attorney game takes place in 2016, which, you know, is kind of long past by now. But because the game was made in the early 2000s, technology is like, everybody's cell phone is still like a Nokia. It's not even a flip phone yet, and it has like MIDI ringtones. And for some reason, all the photos are in black and white. It's not until like at least I think the fourth game where the photos are in color. That I have no idea. I tell you, I lived through the 2000s and we had color photos. I don't know why the Japanese courts have had to like cheap out so much on color ink. I don't know. Here it actually makes sense. Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera. AOL is so happy this game got released for the US. I still can't believe it at all. I'm like, am I sure I'm not playing the fan translation right now? Is this real? Is this happening? This is me. I'm sweating, but not just because the game is real, but also because it's hot in my room. And you know, at the next point that the game has some sort of break, I would like to probably call it for the night. I know I'm not done with the trial, but these streams do take a while, especially when I'm pausing to talk to chat or just, you know, riffing off the dialogue. That happens. It took me like 80 hours to play the first game. I'm sorry, I take a while with games, but you know, that's how I do.
With the photographic device?
Yes, we can confidently say that the camera's lens must be scratched.
Well, that's more than a scratch, dude. That's like a gouge.
And the scratched lens causes unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with the device.
Please get some tea. I will. I've got some nice Oi Osha green tea in the fridge, actually. I also got some hydration. Delicious. I believe this is the game that got me to actually take a tumbler of water and... Water. Thanks for the hydrate. Let me drink again. Actually got me to bring an entire tumbler of water to my desk and keep it by me when I stream. Cause you know, Danganronpa had me bring like a bottle of water, but not an entire like... I bought a thing for this. It's all made out of metal and everything. It's very nice. I recommend it if you're a streamer, keep your water nearby. Hydrate. In short, the two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. But everything changed when the chickens attacked.
What? What?
No ifs, ands, or buts.
There must be hundreds of such camera devices here in the capital. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one.
Objection!
Oh, really? I think you're forgetting, Professor Ouchie, that one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article. That means that the photographer has to be listed.
A newspaper?
Oh! That's right. The author of that article is the mystery witness to this crime. Now, hold on. They're not necessarily maybe the same person. But at least the photographer.
What?
Ooh, what? Who said that? Mimi Mumu? Saseki? What was that? Hold on, what did he say? Mini Mumu. Mini Mumu.
I see why you were called a raucous England returnee.
What are you yelling about? You've already testified.
It's Mini Memo, I tell you. Mini Memo. What are you blathering about, man? Mini Memo. That's the name of the reporter. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Soseki-san, what was that? Mini Memo. Wow. He's turned into a shy guy. Somebody help him. Somebody. Did you say Mini Memo? It looks like he has drawn on eyebrows. You know, I bet there's an actual picture of Soseki Natsume that's probably famous, and then they built his textures around that. I want to see. Let me see. Soseki Natsume. I'm Googling him right now. Well, I don't know about picture, but I do have a picture of the actual man. Check it out. This is Soseki Natsume in real life. Can I find him doing this exact pose? No? Well. Wait, Soseki's on the 1,000 yen bill? Is that real? Is that real? Huh. I think they took a couple of liberties. They definitely gave him more hair, but the mustache is spot on. Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move. Is it you? Are you the reporter? They're raiding right now! Can we get a shout out at them so that they leave me alone? Oh my goodness, not real Eric! Thank you for the raid. I'm giving this warning to everybody raiding in. Warning, this is the second game in the Great Ace Attorney series, so if you need to jump off for spoilers, I don't blame you at all. But this is the second game, again, even though it says I'm just playing the collection. I played the first one on the fan translation. Thank you for the raid, not Eric. Line Omelet, thanks for shouting him out. Resident Evil 2, how far are you? Saw you were playing it, hope you had a great time. Sit back, enjoy the show. So Seki Natsume is on the 1,000 yen bill. No wonder he's so famous. It's as if we had a video game where you just like met Andrew Jackson and you're like, wait, what? Who's this guy? Why do I know him so well? Oh, he's the dude on the 20. Or, you know, maybe just Abraham Lincoln. Codename Steam. There you go. Codename Steam with Abraham Lincoln. Can't believe that was a thing. Hope you had a good time. Not real Eric. Thank you for the raid. And, you know, I'm playing a little bit of a visual novel game here, so sit back, enjoy the show. I see you've got ads. If you sit through an ad, y'all will too. Something about McDonald's fries. Okay, cool. Natsume got taken off the bill 2004. Oh, that's a shame. I want to go... Wait. No. I'm like, when did I go to Japan? Oh, 2017. Yeah, definitely any bills I have from then don't have him on there. Yeah. If you guys are coming in on the ad, I'm saying, if you want to jump off for spoilers, I don't blame you. But thanks for coming in. Carnivores, what's up? Not real Eric, hello. Hope you're doing good. Yeah. We just learned something very important about this trial, so... Also, Dead Artist, welcome on in. A reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move. A reporter by the name of Raiten Many Memo. Yes, hounding me from dawn till dusk. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. RM! More like Meanix right. What? Nice food. Now that he mentions it. They secretly spy, snapshots, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy. That's him! It's gotta be! Man, it's one of those things I was talking about. Wait, also that band on his arm. And that pen. It's the exact same symbol as the pen. That's even more evidence right there. Pretty good. Could that same reporter? I called it from the beginning. Oh my goodness, oh my gosh. Is there food involved? Not in this case, but no, yeah, we're playing some Ace Attorneys. I'm a big fan of the series. I've played through most of the games now. I just need to, you know, hope that they somehow pull this magic Capcom did on Ace Attorney Investigations 2. Please? Port for the Switch? Please? Until now, I'm just in awe that the Great Ace Attorney even happened. Arrest him at once! His egg is cooked! A camera to the left of him, a notebook to the right. There I am, stuck in the middle. There I am, stuck in the middle and writing many memo. He's writing many memos.
So you're saying that this picture was taken by...
My many memo, yes, my lord, your excellency, Esquire. He's not Esquire.
Officer, find this newspaper reporter at once and bring him to my courtroom. We will adjourn for a short recess in the meantime.
Well, it's been real, guys, but I think that's where I gotta call out for the safety of my voice. In a bit. Oh, yes, your excellency. Y'all want a little summary of what's going on so far? Here's a little command I made.
As you say, Your Excellency.
And one more thing. I want this knife, the murder weapon, examined for traces of poison.
I would like it to be in the court record, please. I'm amazed that it's been this long and hasn't been submitted as evidence.
You will solicit the assistance of the Imperial University's medical department for the task. Understood?
Meh.
Meh.
Mini memo!
Got him. Toby Maguire. Oh, good stuff. I expected it this time. You know, when I played the first grade Ace Attorney, I'm like, how long could it be? I'm just gonna play the first trial, you know, accuse the witness, probably, and, you know, there's no investigation. We're just gonna go play Kingdom Hearts 3, because that was, like, the same day I decided to stream that game. Yeah, no, it took so long, my 3DS ran out of battery in the middle of the stream. I had to replay all of it. This time I came prepared. We're only like halfway through the beginning trial, and I have to save and end the stream because it's been an hour and a half. You get a lot of save files, oh my god. 20! So, perfect time to save it, I say. And, as much as I like to continue... Can I actually just, like... I'll use this to play the music for the outro. How about that? Ah. Sorry you rated in right at the end, not real Eric, but I hope you enjoyed my performance for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 voice lines. I highly urge you, if you're not real Eric, I assume you're a fan of Capcom games. Ace Attorney has been one of my favorites since middle school. So I urge you to play them all. They're very good visual novel experiences, and the Great Ace Attorney is one of my favorites in the entire series. The first one. This collection that just came out today has both, and it's got these little extra options. Let's go look at some stuff. You're the type to just use one save file. In a visual novel, it's not as important. Well, in a visual novel that doesn't have multiple endings, it's not as important. For sure. Because, like, you don't really choose anything, you just have progress. In a game where I'm like, I'm not replaying all of that just to pick another option, then that's when I make multiple save files, which is why you see me doing Persona and, like, a rotating save manner. In this game, I'm just like, just save. Unless I really want to go back to something. But given that we've got, like, a gallery and everything, look at that, we can see everybody's pictures. I hope there's no spoilers here. Look, Susato. That's what she looks like when she's not dressed up as a student. Look at her, she's pretty. I like her. This is the supposed actual main character, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. We haven't seen him yet, but we'll see him probably in the next, maybe not the next stream, but the next episode of the game. I wonder... There he is. Hey, wait a minute, you gotta change that katakana, sir. That says Holmes, not Shomes. Oh, we're gonna get sued. We gotta get sued! Do I have a favorite in the series? Should you start with a GBA? I'd say you can start with the Great Ace Attorney 1, because it's pretty much separate from the entire series, but it is pretty complex. So if you want to, like, start from the beginning, might as well start with the first game, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Because that's the one that's the most basic, but it also has a pretty good story to start off with. It's a good, like, teaching game, I think. So, I recommend it. Might as well. That way you get the whole saga as well. Yeah. Sherlock Holmes. Interesting fact. Are you gonna say that, Arsène Lupin fought a Sherlock Holmes in the, LeBlanc novel because he was also not allowed to use Sherlock Holmes as a copyright? Because that do be true, though. Look at what they've done. They turned Sherlock Holmes into a sexy anime boy. Look at his hair. I'm jealous of his hair. Interesting fact, Sherlock Holmes is the name of the detective who encountered gentleman thief Arsène Lupin and spreads for the fantasies as well. Got him. That's one of those facts. Oh, look at that concept art. That, like, doesn't look like him at all. Is that Iris Wilson Watson? That's awesome.
Steampunk.
I love this. I love that they have all of this in the game itself. Also, Lupin the Third. Got him. That's one of those facts that, like, makes its way around so often that, like, of course I've heard of it, but it is a very nice fact, so thanks for bringing it up. Look at she! I am dreading doing her voice again.
Oh my god!
I'm not even sure if I can go that high anymore. Oof. I probably shouldn't see concept art for this game, because I don't know these costumes yet, actually. Kazuma Kiryu, I mean Asogi. Interesting that they don't put the U in his name, because, like, it's a long O, which technically isn't part of the name, but should also be. It depends on how you Romanize. There's Baroque Van Ziek, so I never came up with a voice for. Look at all this stuff. Spoiler alert, there are spoilers. Okay, go away, stop, don't look at that. And, let's listen to some music to close it out, huh? Oh look, voice recitals.
Objection! Hold it!
Unused, huh? Oh, this is good. Oh, this is good. Let's use this one. I love it, the taiko drums and everything. All right. Ending scene time. No, sorry, won the case. I'm not listening to you today. We've got the scrapped version of Ryunosuke's personal theme. Thank you, everybody. You hate to compare them to Nintendo, wish there was concept art like this in 3D All-Stars. They had, like, a music player, at least, I guess, but yeah, who knows if they even have concept art anymore. Oh, this is only like an intro. How about this one? This one? That one. Ooh. Sorry, I'm just really excited for all this unused music. Has this ever been released to the public before, I wonder? Yeah. I'm seeing the description of this one. It's saying, like, they were drawing on the music from the first Phoenix Wright, and it does sound a lot like that kind of music. It reminds me of the, like, bum bum ba da 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 ba da 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 ba da da. Thank you, everybody. I'll keep y'all no further. I am just super excited that this game is real. It's localized. Capcom actually gave a crap for once, and they gave the fans what they wanted. Who knows how long they've been pushing for this, how long this has been in the works, but we did it. We did it, lads. Maybe it was Scarlet Studies fan translation that pushed Capcom into being like, you know what, there is a market for this. Maybe, hopefully. Whatever it is, I am just very glad to be playing this game, finally, for realsies. For realsies. And, yeah. Tomorrow's the next stream, and I'm going to be continuing the first trial. This is why I specifically scheduled this week like this, because I knew I wasn't going to get to the end of the first trial. I want to rest my voice. I'll give it a day, and I'll see you tomorrow. No stream art tonight, so as always, they got some high quality PNGs of the renders. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, do they? I'm not sure. I'll take a look next time. How about that? Or maybe you can buy the game and find out. Your favorite moment in Phoenix Wright is when they shout objection and they airbend a gust of wind at the other side of the court. That's always how I imagined it, and the anime really did deliver. Yeah. So yeah. Tomorrow. Don't worry, it's not gonna take too long. Hey, if you're on the YouTube video, by the time that you watch this, I will already be streaming the next one. So, you know, that's a perfect opportunity to jump in live on stream at www.twitch.tv/ManokAdobo. And if you're on the Twitch stream, you can always catch the YouTube VODs if you ever miss, if you ever fall asleep. Twitter, Discord, all that good stuff. And, yeah. If you're on YouTube, if you haven't watched... Curare. If you haven't watched my stream since the last time I streamed Greatest Attorney, welcome back. It's been a long time. Thank you for making it to the end. I do appreciate y'all as well. Even though I don't get to see you in person, y'all. Even though sometimes I don't know that you exist other than a view counter on the video, I still appreciate the support so much, and it means a lot that you came back. Thank you, thank you. It's been so long. Again, 2 years can change a lot about a stream, but hey, I'm still here. I'm still doing funny voices. So, I'll see you next time. Wherever you are, if you'll need to go to sleep, I will let you. So, have a good night, and stay clucky, y'all. Bye-bye.